Welcome to A Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmit, and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is A Feast for Crows, chapters 23 and 24, Alayne and Cersei. In these chapters, Littlefinger and Cersei are up to no good. Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. So, Harmith, did anyone die in these chapters?
Okay. Apparently, what's his name? Apparently, Davos died, but I don't believe it.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But apparently, so allegedly, he died.
Why don't you believe it?
I just don't. I have a whole theory. I'll get into it later. But
okay.
I don't believe it, but what the chapter told us is that he's dead. Was there anyone else? I don't think so. Cersei's making plans for Bronn to be dead, but he's not dead yet.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there was anyone else.
She talks about one of her friends being dead, like one of her childhood friends.
Yes.
Whose name person. I can't remember.
Like Myrtle or something? Like Mermel? I don't know, something.
It started with them, but it was not Myrtle.
Oh wait, that's Harry Potter.
Alright, so what did you think of these chapters?
They were fun. I liked Sansa's chapter. Or Alayne.
You mean
sorry.
Alayne?
Yeah. No, just because it was like
busting her disguise left and right.
Yeah, literally.
Anyone could be hearing.
Yeah, it was just a nice little. Yeah, it's funny because she was like, "Oh, I'm never gonna stop saying Alayne, but everything else I'm gonna make super obvious." Like if you were to overhear the conversation, you'd be like, "Huh." Yeah, that one was good. I liked it. Cersei's chapter had a love-hate relationship. I liked the second half more than the first half. Because the thing is, when she's not being funny, she's just being cruel, which isn't really fun to read. But then during the dinner, she started being funny again, so that was enjoyable. But everything else, I spent most of her chapter just with a shocked look on my face. Like every 2 seconds she would just say something like outrageous. And I was like, hey, because we didn't record for a month, right? And then I think like right before that we had a Cersei chapter. So I think it's been like a month and a half of not reading Cersei. So I like forget what it feels like to read Cersei. So yeah, it was fine.
Certainly
I just kind of
was experience.
Yeah, I just kind of was like, oh, okay, that's what we're saying. Cool. But they were good.
All right. So, are you ready to summarize?
No, but I will do my best.
Perfect. In 3, 2, 1, Alayne.
Okay, Robert is tweaking, basically.
What?
They're like, she basically has to try and be mother, and then Pataya's just being annoying, and then they have like a big dinner thing to prep for. She's basically hostess at this point, and she's doing all the prep, and then they show up, but one of the guys sort of recognizes her, but not really, and then they basically discuss, and like Peter basically tears their thing apart. Wow, that was terrible. Cersei. Okay, Cersei, we start the chapter, she's just kind of she's getting more and more annoyed at like Marjorie and Loras because they're like training him how to like joust, and she's like, no, he's gonna get hurt. Then she's like going through and she's getting all the news of like the people in the Free Cities and people in Dorne, and she's kind of ignoring most of the important parts. And instead she's hatching this plan to get rid of Bronn by getting like the people to have another like hunting accident happen, basically. And then she also is giving live people to, what's his name? Qyburn.
Oh,
to
that
just
was
do
way
whatever
over a
he
minute.
wants.
I
Oh.
kind of forgot to look at the time.
Okay.
And you still didn't get anywhere. Okay, wow. Lovely.
That's
So,
okay. Some days are more successful than others. For my
sure,
summaries.
one day.
Hey, some of them recently have been good. Today was just, like, insanely bad, but it's okay.
All right, so Alayne. Now, I didn't take detailed notes, so I'm hoping that we can get the ideas across without the minute details. Some of the minute details. So she's waking up. It's hella cold. She's now in like a really cool room. Like she's been upgraded to a nicer room since Liza died.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got like a maid or servant, somebody who like looks after her. But generally, like things are okay, but cold. Like winter is coming, as we all know. And the Erie's super quiet because there's like only 10 people there and everybody's just like too afraid of setting off Robin, so they like tiptoe around so they don't make any noise and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of a lot of mood setting happening at the beginning of the chapter.
Yeah.
And we hear about all the lords and their armies that have stationed themselves at the bottom of the mountain and have basically laid siege to the Erie, even though it's not officially a siege, but it's basically a siege.
Yeah.
And they're not getting they're not getting any fresh food, but they have a bunch of stores of like oats and grains and whatnot.
Yeah.
So they're eating oatmeal for breakfast, which Robin is not a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
He wants eggs, damn it. And I was like, you know what? As somebody who has like an egg every day for breakfast,
exactly.
like,
As somebody whose lunch every day consists of an egg sandwich, I relate.
But also, I don't know. This kid's just so spoiled, you know?
Yeah, yeah. But like, also, it's like, it's the thing of like, yeah, he's so spoiled, but like, when a kid is spoiled, like, it takes time, you know? But they're just kind of like, Peter, every time he comes in, is very much like, we'll just get him to do this. Like, it's not that hard. But it's just like, it's
he's
Sansa.
definitely not coddling him like Liza coddled him.
Yeah. But, and
Sansa's trying to be the go-between that, like, is like, oh, we'll get these nice things afterwards. But for now, let's just deal with this. And, like.
Yeah, it just sucks because, like, her and then, like, the other, like, all the servants and stuff are really the ones that have to deal with it. Like, Peter just kind of comes and goes and commands and then, like, leaves, you know?
Yeah, well, that's how evil people
roll.
Yeah. So, the people who have lain siege to the Erie have, like, sent their declaration to the Erie of, like, what they want.
Iconic.
And they're like, they spoke of misrule that must be ended and of false friends and evil counselors and just basically, you know, saying it but without saying it.
Right.
And Sansa in the morning, so now one of the other things that has upgraded is her wardrobe because she got all of Lysa's old clothes, except most of them are too big for her. Some of them they've like altered and some of the old dresses fit her. So she like wears this old Tully colored dress to breakfast, which is nice for her, but also maybe not the smartest decision.
Yeah, not very subtle.
Yeah. But at least she has a nice wardrobe again, I guess. I don't know.
It's so funny because in the last Arya chapter, she was like, oh, thank God I finally have food again. But for Sansa, it's like it's just funny to contrast the ways they've been tortured. Like, hers is like, Arya's is like literally being like physically like dying. And then, like, Sansa's is just, like, all this emotional abuse and torture. And so for Sansa, it's like, here, nice dresses again. Like, you know?
Right.
It's like a weird...
Not that Arya hasn't had her fair share of emotional abuse and torture, but their experiences vary. But, yeah, you know, like, Sansa, technically the whole time she's been fed and, like, taken care of. But, like, at the same time, she's been surrounded by people who are just trying to use her constantly. So never really, like, Arya had moments of safety, like where she was around like Gendry or Hot Pie or whatever, where she she could somewhat trust them and let her guard down a little bit. With Sansa, that never happens and continues to not happen.
Yeah.
So she's also been like re-dyeing her hair as it goes on. As it grows out is what I meant to say. But she's like, what am I gonna do when the dye runs out? Which I'm like, good question. Good thing the siege is lifted by the end of this, because maybe they can import some of that dye or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise she's gonna be out here like dyeing her hair with like dried berries or something, and I don't know how well that works.
I didn't even think of that. I just was like, oh yeah, literally, what is she gonna do? I was like, maybe she could wear a hat like all the time and hide her hair.
She's gonna bring beanies into fashion and Westeros.
Exactly. Oh my god.
Yep, there's still Took. Okay, so
sorry, Maya Stone mentioned when they were talking about like, oh, usually Maya brings the food up.
Yes, exactly. So they're trying to appease Robin with all the things, but like be like, okay, you just got to get through today. We've got guests coming, and like you got to be a lord for them and attend to them, and just like have this for now, but soon we'll have good food. But he's not having it. He's throwing spoons around and just and I think, he goes into one of his seizures. Oh, also, he's been having nightmares of Marillion singing, even though Marillion is now dead. Confirmed. Yeah. Apparently, he jumped out of the sky cell. I mean, I think we heard about people doing that as, like, an escape from the prison, but also it could be, like, Littlefinger just nudged him along a little bit. I don't know, but I think either way it accomplishes the same thing.
Yeah.
So Marillion is dead, but Robin's being haunted by the singing, and he doesn't have all the food that he wants, and so he's just having a bad day. And when he so he goes into like a seizure, right? And then Littlefinger has come in at this point, and basically the Maester's like, okay, Robin's not in any shape to be a lord today. Yeah. We just gotta let him rest. But Littlefinger is like, no, I need him to do this one day. He sleeps literally 12 hours a day. He can do this one thing, which I don't know. But he's like, just give him that little sweet milk and get him going for today. So basically they have been drugging him severely, and the Maester is quite concerned about the amounts of drugs, especially this what is it, the sweet medication, what's it called?
Sweet sleep.
Oh yeah, okay, it's literally called sweet sleep. But I think they give it to him in milk. Didn't he talk about sweet milk at one point?
I think so.
Okay, I might be making,
or maybe you might be mixing it up with like, he was like, oh, we gotta get him like a wet nurse.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, the Maester's suggestion is one of the things that helps this guy, like the kid's seizures, is the breastfeeding. Yeah. And Peter's like, do you want him to like keep breastfeeding till the day he's married? Like, what's the deal here? So just give him some drugs instead. Like, fair compromise.
Easy solution, done.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, the Maester's concerned about giving him so much sweet sleep. But he's like, maybe I'll do just a pinch for today, But that'll be all. And so basically they go, the Maester leaves and whatever. So it's Sansa and Peter Baelish, and they're talking. They're talking about like who's coming up and how it's going to go down. And Sansa's job is basically to get everything ready to receive the guests and just all of that. Is there the only thing kind of note go. Is they talk about Lynn Corbray, who wields his family family's like heirloom sword of Valyrian steel.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Forlorn, is that the name of the sword? Right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's so many Valyrian steel swords with names, and I'm like, am I mixing it up with somebody else's?
Oh my god.
I very well could be. But I guess I'm not. So he fought, the Corbrays first fought with the Targaryens, but then they eventually switched sides to Robert and then fought with Robert at the Trident. And Corbray's like claim to fame is that he killed the Martell Kingsguard, Prince Lewin of Dorne.
Yeah.
And even though like Prince Lewin was like severely wounded by the time Corbray killed him,
his dad did like half the job. Like
exactly. So Corbray's dad died at the thing, and Corbray's the younger son, so he doesn't get any of the titles or lands or any of that stuff. But his dad did give him the sword for this deed. So he has the heirloom sword, and he's very arrogant. And you probably don't remember him, but we met him like way back in book 1 when Tyrion is at the Eyrie, and he is equally arrogant and all that.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah, he's one of like Lysa's suitors.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So Lionel Corbray, who's the Lord, is cool, and he's like on Peter's side, like officially even. But this Lynn guy is questionable.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that, obviously, but you know, hint, hint. What else?
Yeah. So they're talking about that, and then the seizure happens. Then they decide on the sweet sleep.
Oh yeah, because Robert's still there, and he's like, I don't like Sir Lynn. He can't come here. The Eyrie is impregnable.
just quoting his mother's lines. Oh, poor kid, bro.
But also, like, thinking of like how old is he supposed to be now? Like 9, 10?
I think so.
But he looks younger than he is, right? So, like, imagine, like, in your head, like, a 5-year-old just being like, no, but my house is impregnable. Like, it's so ridiculous. You know?
Yeah, literally. Oh, my God. Silly.
So, yeah, they deal with that, and the guards take him away, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, basically stuff I've said before, except I just kind of confused the order a little bit. Like,
yeah, but then, Littlefinger makes her kiss him.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, are you gonna have some porridge for breakfast, my lord, or father? Did she say father?
Yeah, father.
Yeah, and then he's like, no, I would rather have a kiss, and then makes her kiss him.
Yeah.
And she does on the cheek super quick because she, like, what else is she gonna do?
Yeah.
And he's just like, how beautiful. And I'm like, go suck your own dick. Okay. Sorry, but I hate this guy.
Oh my god.
He's just so gross. Like,
yeah.
To make breakfast gross is just like at least leave it till like the afternoon tea or something. Like,
I'm dead. Yeah. Icky.
Yeah. But this is when he's like, that dress is a little too tully, so maybe you should wear something that doesn't remind you of remind everybody of my dead wife. And
literally,
I don't want them knowing that you're like, you know,
anyone of note. Like,
anyone of note, or also benefiting from her death, blah, 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 all of those things.
Yeah.
And also don't wear Eyrie colors, because you doy, you know.
Yeah.
So this is when she's like, but by the by, this Bronze Yon Royce guy, he knows me. He's seen me like twice.
Yeah.
So remember Sir, the original?
Yes.
That's this guy's kid.
Yeah.
So when Sir was going to the Night's Watch, Bronze Yon came to Winterfell to like see him off. So
my favorite thing about these books is how the lore all ties closely together. Like how we keep coming back to the same tournament over and over. Like how we keep coming back to this Waymar Royce guy from the prologue. Like every we I swear we get mention of him like once a book, and it's so
and
fun.
apparently she had fallen in love with Sir Waymar.
Ooh,
because that's how Sansa be.
Real respect.
And he saw Sansa again at the Hand's Tourney in King's Landing. But Littlefinger's like, well, you were a baby in Winterfell, and also who's gonna be looking at a little girl at a tourney? He's got like fights to fight, better things to do, you know?
Yeah.
And also like you look different enough now, like your hair is different. He's not gonna know it unless he knows to look for it. So which fair, honestly.
Like, he made a good point, but I love that he still kind of was like, ooh, I've met you.
Yeah.
Like, when he did see Sansa.
Did he
like,
say that?
Well, no, he just was like, oh, do I know you?
No, well, he said that as, like, who the fuck are you? I got that more as, like, who are you to be greeting me? Like, I've never seen this person, you know?
Oh. I thought it was like, you look familiar.
Okay, I did not get that, but let's get there and maybe I'll reread it and like think differently. But what I got was like, oh, like trying to be like, who the fuck are you without like being who the fuck are you, you know?
I see. I think I just wanted him to recognize her so badly. And then when he said that, I was like, oh,
do you think that would end well for Sansa if he did recognize her?
I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, she does think of him as a man of honor, but like, also there's all these other people around and Littlefinger's, you know?
Yeah, probably not. It would probably just be another Marillion Lysa disaster. Like,
yeah. So yeah, this is when he's like, okay, go get the Solar ready because, you know, he is very aware of the visual representations going on. So if he's sitting in the high hall, they're gonna be like, oh, so you want to rule over us now? Whereas if they're just in his cozy little Solar, it's like a little convo, like,
exactly. You know? Littlefinger, damn dude, I hate you, but damn dude.
And so but Sansa's trying to be like, for like earlier she's like, why do they hate us so much? And he's like, well, they just don't like to see me here, you know? And then she's like, why don't you just give them Robert? Because that's one of their demands, is like, we want Robert, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, if I give them Robert, then they're going to take the rest of the Vale, and I can't have that because I want power. And also, we don't really have another place to go. Like, I mean, for Sansa, that's more true than for Littlefinger. Like, we know that Cersei would have him back any moment. Like, she would be happy to.
Yeah.
But they can go back to the Fingers, and that's, like, who wants that? And Sansa's like, but what about Harrenhal? You're, like, the lord of there now, you know? And he's like, yeah, but that castle is just... I mean, it's far, and it's surrounded by all this misery, and it's hard to garrison, and also it's cursed.
Ooh, curse confirmed.
It's just like, well, yeah, I think it's the first time that a quote unquote lord of Harrenhal has acknowledged the curse. Yeah, I think like small folk and other people say this stuff all the time, but
I see.
Like Tywin was never like, this place is cursed, so I'm not gonna take it over, you know?
Yeah.
But Littlefinger seems to... Maybe he's just using it as an excuse, but maybe he is concerned about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's just talking about, like, all the other people that had Harrenhal and died. Mm-hmm. And Sansa's like, yeah, why don't you just, if that's the case, give it to Lord Frey?
But before that, like, when she mentions... when he's like, yeah, but that place is cursed, she's like, dude, curses are just in stories. And like, he's kind of amused by that too, because she's the one saying that. And then he's like, well, look at all these examples. You're telling me those are all from stories? Like,
yeah. And he's like, oh, maybe I should give it to Cersei. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, well, maybe not quite yet, you know. Mm-hmm. She is sending me some splendid tapestries after all. Now, You
I
remember her
don't-
getting this request, right?
request.
What's with these tapestries?
Wait, he requested tapestries, or she
Oh,
was just
yeah,
giving
like-
tapestries?
In the last Cersei chapter, when they're having a council meeting, I think they get like a letter from Littlefinger, and Littlefinger's like, they're talking about the situation in the Eyrie and how like all these lords have been like, we're gonna kill Littlefinger, and
Right.
Littlefinger's like letters have only said something like, "Oh, all's well. Can you send me these tapestries, BT Dubs?" Like,
Oh, okay, got it. I see.
like
I
he's
thought
super casual about all of it.
I forgot about that. I thought it was like she was like, "Hey, look, tapestries. Now come back. Like this is for
so
you."
I don't know. Apparently, there's
think-
some of Robert's old tapestries. I mean, what could they have on them or in them? I'm like, a tapestry rolled up might be good to smuggle in bodies, but like, which bodies are they smuggling?
I don't
in?
know. I was trying to think about that, and then I was like, maybe it's just because he does have at least a few of them. I don't know if he has all of them, but he has a few of them on display, right? So maybe it's just like, because this whole conversation was kind of about like having like that sense of like intimidation, like I have power
Like
behind
symbols
me.
of power.
Yeah, but also that like thing of like, oh, don't worry, I'm on your side. But if you're not on my side, I do have the throne behind me. So maybe the tapestries are just like a thing he could have pointed to, like a quiet thing that like spoke
Right.
volumes.
I guess. But he
but
doesn't
I don't
have
know,
them
like-
yet.
No, he does have some of them.
She is sending me some splendid tapestries.
No,
like-
later in the chapter we see some tapestries.
Oh, there's there's King's
But they're
Landing
not
doesn't
his-
have domain over all tapestries.
I know, but they like... Okay, give me a second. Alayne led them down the arcade, past a dozen splendid tapestries.
Okay, but like
Okay,
any
but I
a lot
read
of
it as-
tapestries can be
Like,
splendid.
I know, but I was like,
But then
clearly
why
these are
didn't
the
he
ones
say
that
she
Cersei
sent me some splendid tapestries? Why does he say she is sending me some
Okay,
splendid
that I
tapestries?
don't know.
I think these are two separate but equally splendid tapestries.
Okay, well, George R. R. Martin could have used a different adjective for the other ones, okay?
I think his thesaurus was too far away and he didn't want to reach for it.
I'm dead. Yeah, okay, fine. Well, yeah, then I don't know, like, I don't know, have like a fucking clue? Like, I don't know, they have like a puzzle to solve? I don't know, because I just figured it was like a status symbol thing.
All right.
But,
But yeah, so
yeah, I don't know.
Littlefinger's like, I might have to remove her from this game sooner than I had planned,
Yeah.
provided that she doesn't remove herself first.
For
So,
real. In the Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
even the humblest pieces can have wills of their own. Sometimes they refuse to make the moves you've planned for them. Cersei Lannister still has yet to learn. I was like, damn, that's true, but
yeah.
you really clocked her
So,
like that.
Like, we know he's playing her like a pawn, but like, apparently he intended to get rid of her all along. So, like,
Mhm.
what's, who's good?
Yeah, who does he
have
want
in
in
mind
power?
to replace?
Yeah. I don't
Like,
know. Like, does
what's
he
going
want to
on?
just get rid of her, but then, like, Tommen's still there? Or, like, does he just want the Lannisters out? Like, I don't know, because I don't think he wants the throne.
Why wouldn't he?
I feel like, does he really think he can get the throne? Like, I know he's delusional, but I
think
just don't
he's
see
arrogant
him as
enough to
that
think he
delusional.
can get anything.
But I feel like he also just wouldn't want the throne. Because I think he's been around the throne too much to not realize that, like, the best position you can be in is not on the throne.
Fair. Okay.
Like, so
All
I'm
right.
like, who does he want? Like, obviously
Maybe
he just...
one of his kettle blacks.
Oh my god. Yeah, but
I mean,
like...
don't forget, he is the one who's the real person behind the kettle black. So
Yeah. I don't know, though, but, like, I don't see them getting the Iron
Oh, I don't mean that
Throne.
like literally, but I mean
Yeah.
like
Yeah, just, like, keep in mind that they're his pawn, yeah, but it's
Yeah.
just, like, I don't know, like, does he... I am not sure if this is, like, a... because, you know, he has plotted with Alayne. So,
True.
like, that could lead somewhere, you know?
But he
like,
doesn't tell Alayne everything either.
yeah, but that's just, I don't think he would do that even if he was, like, sponsoring someone for the throne. Like, I still think he
Right.
would keep his own things, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know. I could see it either way, where it's like remove Cersei or remove the Lannisters, period.
Mhm.
I don't know.
All right.
We'll find out.
So this is when he's like, okay, get on your way to get everything ready.
Mhm.
And so she goes to do that. And, you know, she's getting people to mull the wine, add the spices, get the solar ready. And one of the things I found interesting was the placement of the chairs. So, like, usually you would, like, have them equally divided all across the table, right? But since this is, like, a negotiation hostage situation, there's, like, the us
Negotiation
versus
hostage.
them.
Yeah, literally.
Them situation. And interest, like, she knows to put 2 chairs on Peter's side, so that later when Nestor Royce shows up, he has no choice but to stand with Peter, you know? Like, visually, actually, all of those things.
Yes. This part kind of ate. Like, when she was doing all the planning and she was like, oh, I'll do this, or, oh, let's do it this way. I was like, go off, Sansa.
It's very satisfying to read, right? Like,
yes,
I don't know, it's giving,
absolutely.
like, planning a Christmas dinner.
Like, oh my god, yeah. Or, like, you know, when for, like, fancy events where, like, you have to kind of create a seating plan, and then you have to be like, oh, but this person knows this person, but maybe they're directly across from this person and they want to get into marketing. Like, you know, it's like a cool, like,
into marketing
example.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like it appeals to me, and it's also just nice to see, like, Sansa plotting for a change instead of being part of plots, like, as a pawn.
Yeah. She makes sure there's enough food for everyone, and she's like, we gotta make sure that as soon as they come here, they're eating that bread and cheese and
exactly.
not turning on us, even though the Freys have kind of fucked that up for everyone.
Literally.
And then it's time for her to go get dressed, and she's like looking at all these beautiful gowns. She's like, ooh, purple, ooh, blue velvet, ooh, silver. But she's like, no, I can't do that. So she, like, puts on this kind of, like, plain brown lamb's wool dress.
Beautiful gowns. Sorry.
Yeah, like, it's still pretty, but it's simple, you know?
Yeah.
So it's and she's like, okay, I'm not gonna wear any of the fancy jewels. Instead, I'll just take this, like, little ribbon. So, you know.
So cute.
Yeah, do more with less, like, kind of thing. And then she goes down to greet the guests, which are, because, you know, if you remember, right, they come up from the dungeon.
Yeah, right before that, she's like, Lord Royce will never recognize me. Why, I hardly know myself. I was like, damn, Sansa.
Yeah. But the important thing is, she hardly knows herself. And even though she's Alayne, she knows she's Sansa. Like, it's like a dual layer. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm, like, harping on this so hard, but
no, it's important.
Clever how these identities are being played. Like, especially with, like, the Stark sisters, you know?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And, like, I mean, we can only hope that they will emerge on the other side even more rooted in their true identities. But
yes, preach to that. My God, maybe these are books with a good ending.
Sorry. I ignore that. Please pretend you did not hear it, and we shall move on.
No, I knew that was. I kind of said that half just to make you laugh, like. Like, I kind of meant it, and then I kind of was like, oh, I haven't said something super
I can't wait until we
get
to the end of book 5.
Oh my God. And I just cry.
Because then I can, like, tell you things, you know?
Yeah.
But what I can't wait for more is to get to the end of book 7, which is definitely written, published, and sitting on my shelf, you know? I'm gonna manifest it.
Oh my God, you sound like me now.
Yeah, so they are there. Some of them are riding up the being pulled up. Some of them are climbing up, but they get there. That's the whole point of it, you know?
That part just shows us, we got old people in this crew, like, which becomes important later.
Yeah, and also, like, Yuri's impregnable. Oh.
Yeah.
So she's, like, recognizing them by the, like, colors and stuff they're wearing, and it's blah, blah, blah. This person's old. This person's not so old, and all of those things. Like,
Bro,
I mean,
sorry.
It's there if you want to read it.
Good description. Sir Lynn Corbray, his description makes him sound really hot, so now I want to know what he looks like.
Okay, wait.
Other than the fact that he's supposed
his
to be like
brown
40 or
hair
50.
with shoulder length, one stray lock curled down across his forehead. That's all it says.
No,
his
and
hard
then-
mouth and restless eyes, like
That, I don't know why. That description, I just was like, damn, I wonder what this man looks like.
I would take steady eyes over restless eyes any day. Like if you were giving me
but it's like I can fix him, you know.
Oh.
I can make his restless eyes restful.
Did you not get the part where he's gay, or
Okay, this is fictional. If it's fictional, I can change like things about a person.
I mean, there have been multiple instances where you fail to pick up on the gay factor. So
No, this one was very obvious though. I didn't need to pick up. They literally say he likes boys. Like,
yeah. Speaking of which, like, there's some like not controversy, but discussion about whether that means like if it's just there to mean that he's gay, or whether
it's, like,
there's like a
predatory.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you that too. I thought the same thing.
Well,
where
I
was
don't
like,
think
I
we
know
have
which
enough
one it's supposed
information to
say.
know as of
Yeah.
yet, but
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I hope it's just the first, you know,
Yeah.
and not the latter, but given A Song of Ice and Fire, it's probably both.
Yeah.
Okay, so blah blah blah.
Another
these
hound
people.
mention.
Oh yeah.
Listen up.
Yeah, she's just looking at Lord Yon and being like, "Oh yeah, he loved that hunting life, and he was a good fighter, and blah blah blah." And
Bro, this is so real. Like when you see someone after a while, and then like all the things flood back, and you're like, I haven't thought about any of these things. And then she like in the moment is like getting all emotional over like, bro, but he like, oh my god, he was so good, but he never fought for Rob, and now
yeah, like maybe I
fallen.
can beg his protection and let him
Yeah.
know who I am. But then she's like, he never fought for Rob. Why would he fight for me?
Damn, bro.
So all she says is like, here's some wine, dude. And that's when he looks at her and is like, do I know you, girl? It says,
I
they
don't know, but I
crinkle
just
when-
like just the way it was written. Like I get what you're saying, but it just kind of like
I guess I get what you're saying. So it could be either or, but it would be interesting if he got like a little sense of like, I've seen this girl before somewhere, and then eventually put this together.
He doesn't say anything. Like he doesn't respond to that. Like other people just end up talking grossly about her. Do you know what I mean? Like he never says like, oh, okay, like that's who you are, or like, oh, you looked familiar. Like he doesn't like, we don't hear from him for the next bit, so we have like no other thing to go off of.
I understand. No, it's true. He could like, maybe he just like can't place her. I mean, I know
maybe he doesn't know what
I don't have a good memory for faces or names. Like I'm just horrible. I just go through the world like as if I'm not wearing my glasses and just like it's a haze, you know?
Oh my god.
Even if I am wearing my glasses.
Yeah.
But occasionally I'll see someone and I'll be like, your face.
Yeah.
And it's like, it'll be like, you look like my teacher from high school. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm like, it's trying to think back to like that teacher telling stuff about herself and being like,
did they have siblings?
Yeah, like what was their deal?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it might also just be like, familiar, but like then you kind of just ignore it, because I feel like the older I get, the more often I meet someone and I'm like, I feel like I know you. Even if
also
I'm never able
people
to
have
place it.
like, I mean, everybody's face is mostly unique for the most part. But there are certain like characteristics that are like just very common that like kind of you encounter over and over again.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Okay, we're dwelling on this way too much. Let's get on with it. So he may or may not have somewhat recognized Sansa. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, yeah, she's Littlefinger's daughter, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's been busy making kids. And, oh, are you deflowered? Well, not yet, I'd say. Like, just disgusting. All the gross things.
Disgusting. And, Kate, I have a question. So they ask her, like, how old she is. But, okay, so the lady Waynwood says, how old are you, child? And then she tells her her age. And then she's like, and I'm no child, but a maiden flowered. Is that like are you supposed to tell people that? Like, is that why she said that?
I think it's
it just
like a
she
thing
was
people
offended
say.
by saying child?
It's like when like Bran is like, I'm a man grown. Like, same thing.
Right. So
but like indication of a woman grown is being a maiden flowered.
I guess it's also just like a cultural thing, like.
Yeah, like you meet somebody and you're like, hi, I'm 14 and I have indeed had my period. Like,
exactly. Yeah, that's what I kind of was like, was this like, what? Okay. And then as they're all being gross, like Anya Waynwood kind of comes to her defense and she's like, is that what passes for courtesy at Heart's Home? And I was like, yes, girl boss. Because also I feel like I genuinely think that this might be the first time in these books where people are being gross and then a woman in the room is like, hey, what the hell? Which is insane. Like, 4 books to get to one point of someone coming to the defense of a child? Like, insane. Yeah, like, girl has suffered enough horrors, and she says that, and I was like, I'm on your side now. Like,
So, okay, so she's 14. I think last week when we were talking about Arya, we said like she's 10, but this makes me think she's actually more closer to 11, but whatever. It's like intentionally made.
No. I think in Arya's chapter she says I'm 12.
No, we talked about how she's not 12 yet.
But
she doesn't say I'm 12. She's like, I don't know how old I am. I don't even remember years anymore. Like,
okay. I swear there was one point where she said a number, though.
Because they do talk ages, like she and the waif are talking about ages.
Yeah.
If you find the spot, maybe you can say what she said exactly. But I remember us talking about it and me being like, I think she's 11.
Right.
No, or I said like she's 10, but maybe she's actually more like 11. So while you look for that, I'll just
keep going.
It's just so she sets them right and is like, okay, Corbray is obviously like, my tongue is my concern. You should mind your own, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah. She says 10.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So maybe she's like closer to 11.
Yeah.
Their birthdays are left vague, like intentionally. And it's just like, I still don't know. Like, with all my knowledge of A Song of Ice and Fire, not just what we have read, I don't know who's older, Rob or John. I do not.
Right. Yeah. I think we talked about this before, and then someone sent, like, an article where they had, like, every single shred of evidence comparing
things, but then there's, like, other contradictory evidence. This never makes sense, okay? I think George doesn't know either. I think he's like, kids somewhere.
This is his gardening going on. He changes his mind.
Exactly. So they are taken to the Solar, and Peter's sitting there looking at their declaration and is like, oh, hey, welcome.
Give me a pen. I'll sign it.
No, before we get to that, this is like, they get to they're like, okay, have a seat, blah, blah, blah. Here's some wine, blah, blah, blah. And they all sit down, and this is when, like, No, they don't all sit down. Oh yeah, this is when Nestor Royce like hesitates before like taking the chair besides Peter, because he's like, there's no other chairs, and I guess I have to stand with him. And even though I wanted to be like the mediator or whatever. So he's like, oh, I've been reading this remarkable declaration of yours. Splendid. Oh, there's that word again. Really, George truly forgot his thesaurus today.
In this chapter, yeah. Or maybe it's intentional because Littlefinger just knows that one word and he just uses it all the time. He's like, this is splendid, my lord. Like,
whatever Maester wrote this as a gift for words. I only wish you had invited me to sign as well. And they're like, the fuck, dude, this against you.
He's literally disarming them with his like little quips.
His like put upon ignorance, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like he does that so well.
Yeah, he's like, well, I don't like evil counselors, and I do think the veil has been mismanaged and all of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
literally. It's, bro, it reminds me of Ted Lasso when Keeley is like, Jamie, Jamie's like, Roy won't coach me, and she's like, just like agree with everything that he says.
Yeah.
And like that's basically what Jamie, but it's true. Like it's such a good disarming technique for people. Just like,
yeah, but it doesn't work with Jamie and Roy.
Well,
Instead, Jamie gets to say that he's an ugly boy.
An ugly boy.
Okay, wait. We can't. No, now I'm going down Ted Lasso. Please let me return. Okay. So, yeah. So, like when he says this, he's like, "Let me sign." Corbrae's like laughing at it, and everybody else is like, That's not why we're here. We're here to get rid of you." You know, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like, "But where will I go? Like, my place is here. Lysa named me the Lord Protector. Robert is my stepson. Like, you know, yada, yada, yada." And they're like, "Go to Harrenhal. Go to hell. We don't care, you know."
Yeah.
And yeah, they're like, you should go to Harrenhal because the Riverruns really need some good ruling. It's a mess down there. And he's like, you make that sound so appealing.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they're like, well, the plan is to take Robert to Runestone to ward and make him make him a knight that Lord Aaron would be proud of. Damn. And Peter's like, but why Runestone? He's like, this is like
he's
when
trying to cause issues between them.
Yes, but this is like the fake out. Like this is them thinking this is his effort to cause issues, but when his real effort to cause issues comes later, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is so transparent. It's like
too
transparent.
Be Littlefinger's plan. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just to be like, oh yeah, check. He tried to, you know, what's the word? Pit us against each other.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next tactic. Like that's what they're like. They've got a checklist in their head. So he's trying to be like, oh, Runestone's blah blah blah. But Lady Waynwood's like, no, we speak with one voice, and Runestone's fine, and he needs some good company, and blah blah blah. And then Peter is like, well, I agree, he needs companions, but he can have them here. Like, you can send me your kids, and if you want somebody older as an example, Lady Waynwood, don't you have that guy, what's his name, Harold Harding?
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, that's all they say about him is like, yeah, I've got Harold Harding, and she's like, when
they
you're
just
trying
say
to
the name.
steal him, like he's some kind of like possession, like.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they treat people, but like extra. So, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, no, I just think he and Robert should be friends. And everybody's like, yeah, they should be friends, but they'll be friends at Runestone.
Oh my god.
So give us Robert and leave the Vale, and you can go be the ruler at Harrenhal. And Peter's like, yeah, but my wife wanted me here. And everybody's like, yeah, but you aren't really an Aaron, and also, like, you're not really related to Robert, so who cares what you say?
Yeah.
And they're just kind of doing this back and forth, like, you know, whatever. And then Nestor Royce's contribution is like, well, if Liza had married any one of us, we would have been heard in this situation. Why don't we listen to Littlefinger? Because he's the one she chose to marry. Oh my god, we gotta get rid of this. Just no, sorry, language. It's too difficult.
Gotta abolish the English language.
Yeah. So they're like, he is John Aaron's son. He belongs in the Vale. And Littlefinger is like, well, yeah, he's in the Vale. The Eyrie is part of the Vales, unless someone has moved it. Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he just says, like, yeah, he's not leaving. I'm his stepfather and Lord Protector. He's not very well, and it's my responsibility to keep him safe. So a journey like to Runestone can kill him. So he's not leaving. And they're like, we have a bunch of people. And he's like, are you threatening war? And he's like, well,
whoa,
we shall have Robert. It's just blah, blah, blah. So this is when, like, everything comes to an impasse, you know?
Yeah.
And to break the silence, Lynn Corbray turns around and is like, I hate this talk. Let's fight it out. And he, like, pulls out his sword and just, like, basically he breaks the laws of hospitality, putting the lords of the Vale at a disadvantage in the negotiation that lets Peter be like, y'all fucked with the hospitality rules, and now I don't have to guarantee you safe passage, so maybe I'll kill you all anyway.
Whoa.
And
look at me
like,
being so honorable and not killing you.
Yeah. And they have to be like, okay, you know what? It's fine. I mean, we didn't mean to. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And they're trying to, like, calm Corbray down. And Corbray's like, my lady has a thirst. Whenever she comes out to dance, she likes a drop of red. Ugh. He's talking about his sword, in case you didn't get it.
No, I understood. The sword's name is literally Lady whatever.
Forlorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they tell him to shut up, and he's like, you should have named yourselves the Six-Souled Woman, and storms out. And it's like, whatever, who cares? So finally, you know, they turn to him and they're like, okay, sorry about all that. And Littlefinger's like, sorry, is that all you got to say? And Littlefinger's like, you know what? I have more honor than all of you, so I will give you safe passage, but I'm not going to give you Robert, and I'm not going to leave. Instead, why don't you give me a year to prove that I'm worthy of this position, and if you don't like it, I will leave. Like,
yeah.
Give me a year. What's a big deal?
Oh my god.
So then they're like, yeah, but how do we know we can trust you to leave if you trust you to do a good job and to leave if you don't? And Littlefinger's like, well, I'm not the one who drew a sword. It's you people who did that. So you're untrustworthy. And also, if you want a war, we can make war, like, no big deal. I got King's Landing backing me. And it's gonna be no fun for anyone. So this is when, like, tide has turned, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I mean, people are like, I guess we could try it. A year is not so long. Like, you know, we gotta prepare for winter. War is no good for anyone. And they're like, but you promise that if at the end of the year things have not been set right, you're gonna leave and not have any rights to the Vale. And it's like,
I'll willingly step
promise.
down.
Promise.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Scout's
Pinky
honor.
promise.
Pinky promise. Scout's honor. Bro, when he's doing his little, I will say he kind of popped off with that one little speech. Like, he's like, you dare call me untrustworthy? You right of defending Lord Robert even as you deny him food? I was like, damn. I hate you and I've been won over. Like, that was a good line. Like,
This is like
this is such a dramatic monologue.
Did way back when didn't we like rate like love to hate, hate to love, all of those things?
Oh,
this was a
yeah?
moment when I hated to love Peter. Like,
I respect it. I think this might be one of his like shining moments in my eyes. Like, 'cause this is just like damn, every single person in this place was against you.
Yeah.
And
like
you
the
just
rest of the chapter,
neutralized
like
it.
leading up to it, like especially with that breakfast nonsense, I was like,
icky.
I love to hate you. And then the
Exactly.
tides turned and suddenly I hated to love him. Like, you know?
Exactly. It's like, bro, literally at the beginning of this chapter, I started getting so excited because I was like, because you know how before I was like, bro, he's so slimy, he's gonna find a way out. But then with the beginning of the chapter, I started changing my mind a little bit. I was like,
Really?
I did. And I wish I could say that I didn't. Like, I believed in him the whole time, but I didn't. There was a few moments where I kind of, I think it's also like reading it through Sansa's perspective, you take on a little bit of her worry. So like, as she was like, but like, what are we gonna do? Maybe we should just give him Robert. I was like, wait, how is he gonna do this? Like, we haven't heard about his plans. Like, what is he, like, he's just inviting them up for breakfast? Like, you know? And I was like a little bit worried. I was like, hey, like, what is his plan? Like, what's he gonna do? But this was just kind of like, whoa. Like, dude.
Well handled. Yeah.
The plotting
he's like
goes hard.
Completely flipped the table, and now he's the one who's like, I want friends, not foes, and I shall pardon all of you.
Wow.
Like, he's the one granting pardons.
Manipulative bastard.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think it also helps, like, I don't know, because at least with some of these people, they, like, some of their stuff does seem to be, like, pretty reasonable. Like, none of them are, like, like, I know, like, obviously these were the same people who were trying to, like, marry Lysa and, like, get the Lord Protector position that way. But I do still want to think that, like, some of their intentions are still, like, hey, shit hasn't been going right. Like, there was a whole war that we didn't participate in. Right? Because they were, like, mad about the neutrality and everything. Which also makes me sad, because I'm like, imagine if one of them had participated and then, like, been on, like, the side of, like, Rob and everybody, you know? But anyway, bygones are bygones. Who knows how that would have gone. But, like, I don't know, it's just, like, I'm like, what would be the alternative if Lysa hadn't succeeded in just, like, being able to, like, hide away, and, like, Littlefinger here hadn't succeeded? Like, you know, yeah, it's, like, clever and it's great, but I'm like, ooh, the alternative could have been nice, because these aren't the worst people in the world, you know?
Right.
Like, especially, like, Cersei's on the throne at King's Landing. One of these guys on the throne, like, well, one of the tolerable ones, like, maybe one of the decent ones, like, maybe one of them was Lord Protector instead of
only if. No point in discussing it. Okay, so this is when Lady Waynwood's like, so should we, like, confer and discuss what we're gonna do? And then Bronze Yon is like, no need. It's plain that he has won.
Yeah.
And fine, you can have the year. Just don't think any of us are fooled by, or not all of us are fooled by what you're doing here. Well, I don't know if that means that he knows that, like, Corbray was on Peter's side, really. Yeah. But, you know, I mean,
I think
you can sense bullshit just generally.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, whether he knew, I don't think he knew about that necessarily, because then I think he would have called him out or been like, dude, we trust, like, you know, but I think he just means, like, I know you're not gonna fucking resign. Like, that whole thing, like, I think he's just like, I see through your act, not necessarily I see your plan.
Right. So then they have dinner, and Corbray left, like, when he stormed out, but also Bronze Yon left because he was like, I've seen too much already.
Stupid, yeah.
Yeah. So everybody else stays overnight, so they have dinner, and Robert's, like, all lordly and whatever. And it's just, yeah, basically that's the end of the night. So Sansa's then, like, in bed. kind of replaying everything that happened, and she's like, but how did he do it? It's like he bewitched them. Like, how did he come out on top? And she's like got some suspicions. So finally she gets up, get dressed, and goes to see him. And she's like, oh, so what's gonna happen in a year? And he's like, well, I mean, a lot can change in a year. Like, a bunch of people are already on my side, and maybe more of them will be on my side, and maybe the ones against me will be dead. Like, a lot of things can happen. And then she's like, okay, so what about oh yeah, he's like listing all the people that'll like that might be a threat, and one of them is Bronzion Royce will continue to be hostile, but as long as he stands alone, he's not so much a threat. And she's like, is Lynn Corbray a threat? And that's when he's like, well, he will remain my implacable enemy. He will speak of me with scorn and loathing to every man he meets, and lend his sword to every secret plot to bring me down. Which means that Littlefinger's gonna know about all these plots. And, you know, I mean, I don't need to spell it out, but sometimes I do.
This is crazy, because he has the perfect cover of like, oh, he hates his brother. He could never be on my side. His brother's on my side. Like, it's just like, I hate to say it, but this is kind of brilliant.
It is. I mean, like a smart villain is much more intriguing than Cersei. I was gonna say like in general, but then I was like, you know what?
We have the perfect example.
It's Cersei. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Damn.
So her suspicion. This was her suspicion all along, and that's why she's like, and how shall you reward him for his service? And Littlefinger laughs. With gold and boys and promises, of course. And all he likes is gold and boys and killing. Okay. Interesting.
It's a scary thought.
Yeah, but it also means that if that's all he cares about, that if somebody else offers him more of those things, then...
Yeah, but like, who's gonna offer him more?
He's not the loyalty sword.
Yeah, but like...
I'm just saying, like, in general.
Littlefinger was literally master of coin. Like, he can get money. And also he has Cersei backing him.
Right. That's true. I'm not saying that he can. I'm just, like, making a more general observation about, like, somebody whose loyalty you buy versus somebody who's loyal to you for other reasons, like honor or, like, friendship or whatever. Like, a lot of these people are, like, one of the reasons they're mad is because Ned was one of them. Ned grew up in the Eyrie, in the Vale, so, like, you know, like, all of these, I don't know. Okay.
No, I know what you mean. It's really shitty. Because we're like, wow, his plan was so good, but at the end of the day, like, bro, these people, like, sent him a declaration. Like, that says something about who they are, you know? Like, they literally were like, instead of, they weren't like, okay, here's our army, we're just showing up. Like, it's just like, I don't know. It's a little sad.
Which part?
That like, the Eyrie people don't get to retain the Eyrie. And instead it's Littlefinger. Who's, like, literally the exact opposite.
None of them are the Arryns. Like, the Eyrie belongs to the Arryns. But also, like, Littlefinger is of the Vale. Like, the fingers are part of the Vale. Like,
yeah, but Littlefinger's slimy.
Oh, I know. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just like,
by the Eyrie retaining the Eyrie, like someone with Eyrie values retaining the Eyrie.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, in that case, even Lysa wasn't a good.
Well, I never said Lysa was good. I don't think anybody in this book agrees except for his or her son. Like, yeah.
Right. Okay. So, predictions. Will Sansa get some more hair dye?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Will Robin's, like, condition improve or worsen or stay the same?
Bro, he might die.
Oh, really? Like,
I think he might die.
In what manner?
Like, okay, so he's getting these, like, seizures, and they're getting worse, and his mom is dead, And they're suddenly completely shifting the way that, like, he's treated. And he's already such a, like vulnerable little kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's pretty weak, you know? And, like, and they're just, like, kind of drugging him to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like his condition's getting better, and all they're doing is just trying to soothe symptoms of it without really, like, you know, supporting him or, like, actually really, like, working to treat him in other ways. Like, there's just, like, I just really don't see him surviving this.
So, like, not from, like, somebody, like,
killing
pushes him off the,
no, just
like,
because
out the moon door, but just, like, eventually the drugs and the illness and all of it just gets to him and he passes away.
Yeah, because then I think it also, like, with him being dead, it also creates more conflict for Littlefinger and Sansa, and, like, oh my
and then
god,
who's the heir?
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm saying, like, because then Littlefinger's gonna be like, yeah, but I'm Lord Protector, and he was my stepson. But then the other people are gonna be like, but you have no actual relation.
So really, it is in Littlefinger's interest to keep him alive.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll ease up on the sweet whatever.
Maybe, I
sweet
don't know.
sleep. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I hope we don't jump ahead a year, but, like, what do you think happens in a year? Like, will Littlefinger have maneuvered his way to, like, stay in power, or will he be kicked out?
I think so.
Which one? You can't say this or that, and you think I think so.
He'll stay in power. Because I think
the second one was he gets kicked out.
Okay, I messed up, okay? I was trying, like, the intention was to say that he stays. Because I think that the thing that would remove him from power is the, like, Robert's death and then, like, subsequent stuff that
fallout
happens. But, like,
yeah,
I don't think before that he'll be kicked out. Okay. Unless Cersei, like, maybe if Cersei tries to be like, I banish you from the Eyrie, but still, he's gonna easily be able to be like, nah, bro. But, like, be like, oh, I mean,
it's in
really
her interest to keep him in the Eyrie, too.
Yeah.
Not that she always does something all the
in her best
things.
interest, yeah. She might just be like, ugh, Rosby died. Like, Rosby might die, and then she might be like, bro, just come back. Or, like, she might be like, Rosby's being a bitch. Or, like, the stuff with the sparrows or something else, like, might get worse. Not with the sparrows, with, like, the Iron Bank and stuff, like, might get worse. And then she might be like, Littlefinger, back here, now. Royal command. And then a Littlefinger will just be like, sorry, things are really bad here. They really need me if you don't want them to go support Stannis.
Right. Okay, so I think that's all the predictions. Like,
yeah.
Is Sansa gonna retain her true identity, or will it slowly go away?
Littlefinger... Whoa. Sansa will retain her true identity.
You just can't word today, can you?
I can't. I feel like every single thing I've tried to say today is just stumbling.
It's okay. You're in the same boat. We're both in the same boat. Mm-hmm. We're two peas in a pod. We're moving on now.
I was about to say we're two fish in the fryer, and then I was like, I don't know what I mean by that.
So, Cersei. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, this is such a long chapter. But it's like, I don't mean that in like a, oh my god, it's such a long chapter. I mean in like, oh my god, such a long chapter, so much happens.
Yeah. Bro, trying to read this, I was like, okay.
I'm gonna definitely forget like so much of it.
That's okay.
Okay.
I love the beginning though. The king was pouting. I want to sit on the Iron Throne.
Yeah. So he wants to sit on the Iron Throne, and Cersei's like, well,
you always let Joffrey sit up there.
Yeah. And he's like, well, I'm the king. The throne belongs to me. And Cersei's immediately like, who told you that? Because obviously it was Marjorie and all of that. Mm-hmm. And at first he tries to be like, no one told me. And then she's like, no one? Is that what you call your lady wife?
Oop.
And then she threatens, oh my god, this medieval practice, like, to whip his whipping boy, which is just like a kid they have stand in for the highborn kid that gets their punishment, and this is supposed to somehow punish the highborn kid.
Yeah.
Like, I guess if they're friends, he doesn't want his friend to get hurt, but like, or if Tommen's a sensitive kid, like he doesn't want people to be whipped in front of him, or at all.
But for Joffrey,
this is a messed up practice.
Yeah. And for Joffrey, it probably contributed.
He would have probably been like, yeah, I love it. Please do more.
Literally. Like, what? Yeah.
Yeah. So
poor Pedro.
She asks him again, who told you? And he says, Lady Marjorie. He knew better than to call her queen in his mother's hearing, which is like, oh my god, this little baby.
Yeah, she has him, like, bro, why is she one of his torturers? Like, come on, Cersei.
Ugh, yeah. So she's like, I've got things to do. I can't have a little boy fidgeting on the throne behind me. So just go away. And you can do it when you're older. So, because she's like, well, he can wait. I waited my entire life for this.
Oh my god.
So she gives him some homework and sends him away. Mm-hmm. And just, yeah, she's like, that Marjorie's so mean. Not mean. Like, she thinks to cheat me of my hour in the sun. Please. Well, she had bloody well think again. And Dude. So this is like at breakfast. A lot of stuff happening at breakfast. Okay. And Giles is there talking about the books and the money and the whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. And
then Alayne comes in, Mr. Waters, and he's like,
yeah, so
hey, can I have more money ships? For better ships? I promise they're going to be so cool. And she's like, the queen was pleased to grant him his request, which is, it's so, like, George R. R. Martin writes so well, because it's so funny to put, like, the Rosby meeting and the Alayne meeting in the same paragraph and be like, this is how she reacts to this one versus this one. Like, she's like, oh, of course I'll give you extra money. But then in the meeting where he's like, hey, we don't really have money, she's like, blah, 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 blah. Like, mm-hmm. It's just, it's so funny. Like, Cersei is written so comedically, but, like, in, like, a really concerning way, because she's supposed to be, like, Queen Regent. Like, mm-hmm. Yeah. Ugh, bro.
It's only funny because it's not real, but it's how a lot of actual people in power in actual world things act. So, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't think about that, it's very funny.
Yeah. Very true.
So at lunch, she has lunch with the merchants who are unhappy with the sparrows that are now taking over the streets. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, maybe I should, like, get the city watch ready to chase them out. And then Pycelle comes in as she's thinking this. And
that was the part where I, like, when she's thinking about, like, oh, maybe I should get the gold cloaks to chase them out. That was where it got real for me. Where I was like, okay, this needs to go back to fantasy universe.
Yeah.
That specific line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, them cops do be bastards. So, okay, wait. I'm sorry. My brain just, like, wandered. So, Pycelle's here, and he is complaining about the fact that Alayne Waters chose, like, young men for his, like, to captain his ships, whereas Pycelle thinks that they should be experienced men. And I mean,
I agree.
Can't it be a compromise? Can it be, like, experienced but not, like, 100 years old people, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
but I do like his thing of, like, people who had, like, escaped the Blackwater, or, like, at least some of them should be people who did
and then
that
she's
and,
like,
reward them.
No mother should outlive her children, and no captain should outlive his ship. One of your kids is literally dead. How can you be saying this? Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. It's just like the cognitive dissonance in Cersei's brain is just like, okay, I'm doing things with my hands that nobody listening can see. Here's common sense. Here's Cersei's actions. And between them is, like, the wall. Like, from the series, you know?
Stop. Yeah. No,
Ugh.
it's so funny. Yeah, and she ain't no rock climber. Like,
Truly.
it's funny because she says that to like rebuke Pycelle, but it applies more to her than to him, which is so funny because she's trying to be like, well, you're fucking old, shut up. But it's like, girl, the words you used speak to you. Like, he ain't got kids. Like,
Yeah, but also she's like dissing his choice of captains and all that. But okay.
yeah.
So he has other news
Mm-hmm.
from Wyman Manderley, who has beheaded the Onion Knight. And she's like, well, we know this for a certainty. And his response is, the man's head and hands have been mounted above the walls of White Harbor. And Wyman Frey, God, no, please, yike. Ah, blah, blah. Take it away. Wyman Manderley promises that that's the case, and the phrase that are there confirm it, by the way. So
I don't buy it.
what could it be then?
I don't know. They like just use someone else who looks similar.
But why would they do that?
Cause, Kate, I need a clarification. So Davos had gone to them to be like, hey, and like negotiate with them and like to come on
behalf of
side.
Stannis.
And
yeah.
That's why them sending his head is like, we spit on Stannis's proposal. We're on your side, Cersei.
Yeah, and I think in like a previous Cersei chapter, she got a letter from Wyman Manderley that was like, "Hey, Davos is here doing this. What should we do with him?" And I think Cersei said like, "Kill him, or you won't get back your son," like something along those lines. So,
okay, I refuse to believe it until I get like a chapter that from someone on Stannis' side being like, "Oh no, he's actually dead."
that was like, POV would have been real helpful right now, but I don't really want
blank page.
Be in somebody's POV as their head gets chopped off either. So maybe not.
Oh my god. Yeah. Dude, imagine we had Ned's chapter from his POV.
From Ned's perspective.
I don't know if it was worse seeing it through Arya or him. Like, I don't know what would have.
It was pretty bad, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, because I think that is a ploy. The Manderleys have actually joined the Stannises. The Stannises.
Okay. Wow. All right. All the multiple Stannises. I didn't know they've multiplied. And
you know,
it's
shadow
just like
babies.
it's Melisandre's new, new
tactic.
Trick.
Yeah. Yeah, and now they're on their side, and this is just so they can get back the sun and then spit in Cersei's face.
Okay. Well, she does agree to send back the sun.
Yeah, because the only part that kind of gives me pause is that the phrase confirm, but also, like, we do know that the phrase, like, I don't know, like this could also just be made up. Like, so they could have literally just wrote in the letter, like, look, the phrase also saw, or like,
well,
and the phrase
I feel like the only
too,
way that would be like if the phrase sent their own letter, you know,
to be confirmed. Yeah, but maybe like Frey agreed. Like maybe like someone who's like, well, I'm never gonna get to be. I'm like seventh born of the seventh son, like
seventh born of seventh born.
Yeah, literally, like, okay, sure, I'll support your plan. And also we do know that the phrase, at least a little bit, are gonna start to fall apart because of like the Catelyn torturing them stuff. So right. I also feel like right now the phrase aren't good. Like this
phrase are fraying. Is that what you're
saying?
Exactly.
Like this would be the best time for, like, if I was a Frey, this would be my time to be like, okay, well, if we're all getting slowly caught, let me run away and, like, join someone else. I don't know. I know that sounds, like, really far-fetched, but I just refuse to believe that Davos is dead, so I'm going with that instead.
Okay. You can have your
There's no way
fantasy.
George R. R. Martin was just like, literally, I don't remember the last time we saw Davos. Do you?
The last time we were in we saw him was when he knelt before Stannis to be like, yeah, I let that kid go, but I have this special letter for you.
Yeah.
It was like middle of book 3.
Oh, yeah. So I guess if he's killing him, it would be like a, look, oh my god, he, like, did his duty till his, like, last breath, and, like, his last chapter was, like, him getting better at reading and, like, being able to read his letter and, like, write his letter. That's actually a really sad ending if that's the last chapter we got. But that's so, like, ridiculous, though, because then it's, like, now, so we've basically had, like, half of a book since then, and we haven't seen him at all, and now they're like, oh, he's actually dead. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's so odd. Because, like, we've had him doing stuff and girl bossing, but we haven't gotten to be in his head since then.
Yeah, but there's plenty of people we don't see for a while, and then we just hear about them.
Yeah, but then we just hear about them dead? No.
Okay, fine. So, this is the news. And she's like, oh, we've got the North now, and we're gonna, like, root out all the Iron Men, and it's gonna be great. And all the the Northern people will band together and fight Stannis for me, because obviously, I don't know.
Yeah, so we're gonna get Bolton, we're gonna get everybody, and we're good.
So Mace Tyrell, meanwhile, is at Storm's End, just laying a little siege, because that's what he do. And that's, like, basically that. Then in the afternoon, there's a Braavosi envoy who's here for the money. And Giles was like, I have done everything I can. He wants to speak to you.
Yeah.
And his name is Noho Demetus. And she's like, an irritating name for an irritating man. I'm like, what's irritating about his name? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think she's just like, oh my god, his name's so weird.
His voice was irritating too. Like, it's because he's saying stuff you don't want to hear, Cersei.
Exactly.
So she's just sitting there, like, basically she's thinking about other things while he says all he has to say. And when the Braavosi paused for breath, she saw her chance. This is more properly a matter for our Lord Treasurer. And the guy's like, I've been talking to him for days, but all he does is cough and make excuses. You are supposed to be a Lannister. Where's the debt you gotta pay? Like, you know?
Yeah.
And
like,
she's
I'm
like,
here to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like,
he says, like, specifically, I've spoken to him 6 times. And she's like, well, maybe I should talk to him a 7th time because it's a holy number for us. And he's like,
god.
I mean, if I were this kid, I would be decking her. Like, I'm a kid. I don't know if he's a kid. I don't know why I say kid. Everybody's a kid. If I were this guy, I would just, So he's, he's making a reason, like,
excuse me.
If you take a loan, you gotta pay it back, Yeah.
Literally.
If anybody's unfamiliar with the concept, welcome to capitalism. But like, please. You can't have your house it's not their house words, but like your main saying be like, we pay our debts and then not pay your debts. Like, yeah, that's true. And later on, she says to the Stokeworths that a Lannister always pays their debts after having had this occurrence, like, the day before. Like,
It's funny, though, because it's like, she claims all the parts of the throne that she wants, like the power, the attention, like everything, but then everything, like, every time she has to do something she doesn't like, she's like, why do I have to do this? Like, she's like, literally right after saying, like, oh, Marjorie's trying to take my stuff away, like, I've been waiting to
She wants all the power without all the responsibility.
Yeah.
And we know how that saying actually goes.
Exactly. And it's just like, and like, same thing, it's like, wow, Lannister pays his debts when it's about revenge, but then when I have to actually pay up, it's like, no. And it's kind of the thing of like, she's like, I'm Queen Regent, but I don't claim the crown's debt. But it's like, if you were really like a real ruler like that, you would actually take that upon you. It's like she's like that's the crown's worry. I don't like. It's like this.
Well,
weird...
I don't know if she says that. She says more that like it's a worry for after the war has ended.
Yeah, but I feel like for so many things, she's just like, that's not my problem. And she's like, I'm just going to pass it to someone else. Not necessarily like the crown, like the entity, but like someone else. She's like, this is Rosby's business. Like, she just kind of is like, that's your job. But it's
she's
like,
very good at delegating.
Yeah, but it's like,
power
you delegate, it's still under your
well,
umbrella.
I'm saying that
like,
sarcastically.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just mad at Cersei. Like,
all right,
she's just real annoying in this chapter.
Is not having it, so she literally just says this audience is at an end and like gets up and leaves.
Yeah,
and it's Osmond Kettleblack who's escorting her to her room, and when they're alone, she's like, "So, how's our little brother faring, pray?" And I don't know why I said it like that. I'm sorry.
You made it so sneaky.
Yeah, so basically, like, Osney's on the mission to seduce Marjorie. It's not going so well. Like, Marjorie flirts with him all the time, but they're never alone. Like, she's got all these cousins, and she's got bedmates, and she's got, like, there's always singers around, and, like, things are just happening, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's, like, what do you think about that?
I still think that...
Do you think she's actually taken with his charms and is like, oh, I like you, so I'm gonna flirt with you? Or, like,
I think she's just... I think either way... Because I think either she... Okay, I have 3 different thoughts. Number 1, I think, is least likely. She's completely oblivious, and she's just like, wow, this knight who's really connected to Cersei, and Cersei really likes the Kettleblacks, is flirting with me. Wonder why. I'll just flirt back. No. Like, she's just like, I'll flirt back, whatever. Like, she's completely oblivious. But that's the one that I think is least likely.
Right.
Then, second possibility, she's like, Merryweather has told her everything. Because Merryweather also kind of saw this plan start to happen, and, like, obviously she knows. And Cersei literally tells her everything now. So, Merryweather is playing both sides and is like, hey... Oh my god. So then she's just kind of playing into it to waste Cersei's time. And then third possibility, regardless of whether Merryweather has told her, she's just kind of figured like this is just, like, this makes sense that this is a thing
Does
that Cersei's
Merryweather know about this? Oh yeah. She
does.
kind of planted the seeds for it also. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about the details of that.
And like she was always coming and going when she was like telling Osney the plan. When Cersei was telling Merryweather was coming and going when Cersei was telling Osney the plan. And also
yeah, because like, Merryweather's the one who was like gonna go be like, hey, there's a guy who has a crush on you. Like, kind of do all that.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, I feel like regardless of whether she knows, like, she could just be flirting. She could like him, but not do anything about it because she ain't dumb like that, you know? And I feel like maybe the thing of someone always being there might be intentional because of that. Because she knows the lengths Cersei would go to. And maybe she could just get Osney to lie. Regardless of whether something happened, she could just, like, he could just say, well, that time we were alone on the terrace, you know?
Yeah. Or, as we learned with that, like, experience of Brienne's, if you incentivize people to have sex with other people, eventually they're gonna assault. Like, you know, like, if they're ever left alone, like, the protection who's to say he won't too, just like yeah,
and Cersei would definitely 100% encourage that too, so
yeah, because as long as it gets the job done, you know.
Yeah, literally.
Ugh. So they're just basically, we summed up most of it. The only thing that's kind of also another thing is that Jalabar Zoe, the Summer Islander prince person who's been at court, who wants to like take back his kingdom, and Robert always kind of led him on, is around, and he hangs around with Marjorie and her people as well. So I don't know if that means anything, but I mean, honestly though, if I were like a courtier and I saw like Marjorie's the next queen, or like she is the queen, but like, you know, soon she's gonna be the
Exactly.
actual queen, like
I
I
would
would
go to
want
her
to
too.
ingratiate myself. Yeah.
Exactly. And especially, like, he's probably heard, like, I mean, Cersei's been ruling for long enough now that, like,
Yeah.
she's got a reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he's heard
Yeah.
that she ain't doing shit.
Exactly.
And
Or
especially
like
with that, like, puppet show that we hear about later, like, clearly people feel the same way, like, about what's all going on.
Yeah, so it's she's like, okay, I'll find a way to get them alone or something. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And Osmond is like, oh, I'll tell him. He's eager for that ride. Don't think he ain't. She's a pretty little thing, that filly. Of course, because she the equating of her to a horse. But to herself, Cersei thinks it's me he's eager for, fool. All he wants a Marjorie is a lordship between her legs.
Oh my god.
Delusional? Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, sure, he may want to have sex with you, but I don't like to think that he's only doing this.
Exactly.
Is
yeah, like, if a dude, like, who is born into not that, like, it's just like, okay, so you can understand him wanting to be with you because you think so highly of yourself, but you can't understand that he might also enjoy being with Marjorie.
Yeah, no, he can't. That it's not possible.
Like, yeah.
Also, okay. The Osmonds. So we know, like, their true, like, loyalties lie to Littlefinger, but they're going along with all of Cersei's nonsense. So has Littlefinger just given them, like, yeah, just go along with her nonsense? Or, like, how are they, like, what's...
I think, like, it's, like...
This could get them in trouble, like, you know, like, this is a pretty risky plan.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think, like... Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe, like, Littlefinger's kind of, like, go along with anything that isn't directly interfering with my things, because otherwise it would be suspicious. Like, and obviously it's a risky plan, and, like...
Or maybe, like, their loyalties have changed. I don't know.
I don't think their loyalties have changed.
Okay. I had to suggest it.
Like, I think they could, like, be, once again, like, just kind of going with whatever the person says. Like, because obviously Cersei, like, Littlefinger has them bought, but Cersei is Queen Regent, so technically, like, she could do stuff too. So it makes sense to, even if Littlefinger isn't explicitly like, hey, listen to Cersei, like, it would make sense to just listen to her in the meantime, you know? So, but I don't know what they plan to do about this, like, this specific plan, though. Like, because it definitely could get them in trouble, but I don't know if, like, I don't know. I wish we could be in their heads. Like, I don't know if he's like, oh, well, if they're about to say something, I'll just rat the queen out. But, like, that wouldn't end well for him either. So, you know? So maybe it's just kind of the thing of he just kind of has to... It's kind of the Lancel thing of, like, whether it's good for him or whether it's bad for him, he's just kind of going along with it.
Why is that the Lancel thing?
Like, when... Because Lancel was just, like, with Cersei all those times, and, like, that wasn't really good for him.
Right, but he, I think, wanted to be having sex with her.
Yeah, but maybe Osney does too.
Okay. All right. Sure. It was just a weird, like, comparison you made. I, like, never thought of it being as a Lancel thing to do, you know?
Yeah, because I think to me it's also, like, just because these people, like, sure, you gotta be clever to, like, rise among the ranks, but, like, also, you don't have to be, like, I don't know, these don't have to be... Like, these Kettleblacks don't have to be the smartest people in the world. Like, because especially after the Littlefinger reveal, like, some of the things that we thought they were doing might have just been Littlefinger-fed stuff. So, like,
Mm.
who's to say that this guy is thinking through all of this and thinking about the consequences? Or maybe he thinks Cersei's gonna have his back, or if something goes wrong, like, Littlefinger's gonna have his back. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we just don't know what they're thinking. Like, we just don't have
Right.
proof that they are thinking through every single thing that they're doing before it happens.
Okay. All right. So,
like,
as
sorry,
they're-
just one more thing. So, like, maybe the Marjorie's, like, maybe he'll have sex with Marjorie and then get caught and then immediately be like, oh, wait, I want to bow out of this plan. This is a bad plan. Like, you know? I think right now he's just kind of like, Cersei will cover me.
Okay. Cool. Although her, like, entire plan is like, okay, you will get caught having sex with her, but then you'll get sent to the wall, and then you'll, like, do this rebellion against Jon Snow for me, and then after all that's done,
you'll come back to me.
Yes. And didn't she say, like, you can be my consort or, like, something? I don't know.
Yeah.
She definitely promised, like, more than she was actually going to give.
Literally. Yeah. But who knows? Knowing Littlefinger, he might just have a plan to thwart all of this. And then, like, his dude doesn't have to be... Because then that also means he's down one of his most powerful people in King's Landing.
Right.
So he might have a plan to just kind of be, like... Because that might also be his plan of, like, taking Cersei out of the game. Like, maybe he's planning to expose Cersei for this or something, and that's why he's letting it happen. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't. Okay, so they're walking across the yard, and they hear sounds of jousting. And it is Tommen having just, like, done a practice joust for the first time, I think. And he's, like, super excited. And he's like, did you see how I did that so good? And everybody's, like, cheering him on. And it's, like, Marjorie and Loras and all their people.
Mm-hmm.
And Cersei's, like, furious. And she's like, oh, yeah, you did do good. I mean, eventually she's like, I heard, yes, I saw it from across the yard. And one day you shall rule the lists as your father did. And Marjorie's like, oh yeah, which tourneys did he win? I don't think I know about this.
Oh my
God.
And
Cersei's, like, caught wrong-footed, obviously. Like, she's getting so confident that she's just letting these things slip. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, she's like, Robert won the tourney of the Trident, and he crowned me the queen of love and beauty and whatever.
I'm surprised you don't
it's
know
the
that
greatest
story,
tourney of all.
daughter.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's such a, like, everybody there knows like, it's but, like, you can't just be slipping up like this, Cersei.
Yeah.
Like, currently the Tyrells have an interest in keeping that secret, you know?
Yeah.
But if this is somebody else, like, you know, just,
yeah,
oh God,
she's,
Cersei.
yeah. She even says, she's like, it's not like me to forget myself. And I'm like, are you sure about that, Cersei? Like, yeah, I think.
I mean, she did keep it under wraps for, like, 12 years before, like, Jon Arryn and Ned Stark and everybody, like.
I still don't understand how that worked. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it was just, like, good luck, you know, beginner's luck in incest.
Stop. That's so funny.
Oh,
yeah,
God,
I don't know.
I don't like that I said that. Okay, so she then, like, pulls
maybe she's
Loras
okay.
aside.
I have a weird thought. Maybe she's just having withdrawal, because we know she's not having a lot of sex right now, and like
yeah, but she's like
she's
filling that with all the
make
wine
up.
she's drinking.
I was gonna say it's just she's drinking to make up for like that. Like,
well, I don't know if she's drinking to make up for sex or
well,
just
all the
like,
trauma
everything.
and like everything. But like, I just feel like there's too much. It's like she's lost too much, including like the father, the son, all that. But then also like, okay, where was I going with that? Wait, hold on. I lost my thoughts.
She's not on top of her game.
Yeah, like she's just, and yeah, like I just feel like with Cersei's, I think what I'm trying to say is that with Cersei's relationship with sex, like, her not having a lot of sex right now is impacting her.
So if she would just get some, maybe she could get some work done.
Maybe, but I think also the trauma and everything doesn't help. Like, I I don't think that having sex would solve all her problems. I just think it's another
really?
component. I just think it's another component adding to everything else that she's
Everybody
not doing
send
right
in
now.
candidates for Cersei to have sex with.
I'm dead. That's funny.
That she could get away with and wouldn't cause further trouble. You know, obviously that's the criteria. No kids. That's like all the obvious criteria apply.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess the incest one doesn't apply. That's the only
not in this case.
one.
That's already that one doesn't apply. But like, okay, now I'm like thinking of like what family she has left, and I'm going down this whole thing. And I'm like, no.
Oh my god.
Cersei Alayne Waters,
confirmed.
Obviously.
Alayne Waters. Hey. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
She's definitely already like I fucking him. Like she may as well just do it.
Yeah.
Like
okay, so Loras, she pulls him aside and is like, whose idea was this? And he's like, well, it was Marjorie's, and all these people were riding, and the queen suggested that Tommen might like to have a turn. So I just helped him like get ready and showed him how to do it, and he did it. And Cersei's like, well, the horse was too large, and what if he'd fallen or like gotten his head smashed in? Your job's to protect the king, not to put him in danger. And it's the job of the master at arms to do the training. And then Loras is like, there hasn't been a master at arms in years. What are you talking about?
Real.
And she's
he's literally 9. He wants to learn. He should be a squire by now.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, yeah. Thinking to herself, okay, somebody's got to teach him, but it can't be you. So she's like adding a little spice of homophobia in there, like, oh, if he hangs out with you too much he might turn gay, and that's not good. And it's she's like, oh yeah, okay, well, I did overlook that, but I will get a master at arms ASAP. And Loras is like, well, I'm pretty good at what I do. Why don't you just make me? And then she's like, no, your job is to fight for him, not to teach him to fight. So just like, go to your job. So she leaves, and she's thinking to herself, like, who's she gonna get to be master of arms? Because now that she's turned down Loras, she can't pick another Kingsguard because the Tyrells won't like that.
Yeah.
But then her other thought is that she should pick a Dornish person because the Tyrells won't like that. Make it make sense.
No, but I think that one's different though, because the last guy was a Dornish man. So it makes sense. Like, you're not going out of your way to upset them. Because with this one, it's like, picking another guy is basically the same as picking Loras, except you're choosing not to pick Loras. But with the Dornish men, it's like, there's history. There's like,
I guess it's slightly justified, but it's still like part of her whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so she goes into her solar, and Qyburn is there, and he's got some reports as well. And so he brings up the whole situation with Mir and Tyrosh and the Golden Company, and she's like, who cares? Like, no, like, international relations, she never heard of them.
Real.
And then he's news of dragons and Marine, and she's like, it's harpies, not dragons. It's pronounced harpies.
Oh
like,
my god.
And there's a revolt. Like, why do I care? We don't have enslaved labor or anything. That's not at all what feudalism is. And then there's some news from Dorne.
Dude.
Okay. So this Sir Daemon Sand has been imprisoned. This was not one of the people of Arianne's party.
I don't think so.
But he demanded that the sand snakes be set free. So maybe this is like something we didn't hear of, but is just like a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And then the daughter of the Knight of Spotswood has been married quite suddenly. Now, she was part of Ariane's party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her name, like, she was called Spotted something.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was her name?
I don't remember.
And Cersei's like, well, a sudden marriage could be because, like, she got pregnant, but, like, she's young and the guy they married her to is, like, super old, so it's unlikely, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this, like, instead of being like, oh, what's going on in Dorne? Because, like, we know that this directly impacts her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even think about it all. Instead, she goes into, like, this whole thing about the Estremons.
Yeah.
Robert's non-gay. That means, like, maternal, like, grandparents' house, you know? So, like, she's thinking about how at one time they visited the Estremons and, like, their castle sucked. And, Robert had was it a cousin or who was it?
Yeah, he had a female cousin, which is
Oh,
bro. So they're all incest. Why are we extending
like,
the incest?
cousin is acceptable. Like Tyrion, no, not Tyrion. Tywin and Joanna were cousins. Like, cousins is just every day. Siblings is Targaryen. Like,
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So there's this cousin Robert had who he would, when they were at Estremont, sneak off to have sex with, which I'm like, well, I guess this was early in the marriage that he was sneaking off. Like, instead of, because, like, by the time we got to it, he was just doing it, like, you know?
Yeah.
And then Cersei's like, oh, yeah, so he snuck off one night, and I sent Jaime after him to confirm, and Jaime was like, do you want me to kill him? And she was like, no, I want to give him horns. So they had sex, and she likes to think that that's the day that Joffrey was conceived, which...
Damn.
Sure. Like...
He was a defiance. I mean, with the stuff we get at the end of the chapter, makes sense. Like the rest of this chapter. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. I'm just thinking back to it because we get a lot at the end of this chapter.
Yeah.
And the bit about Robert is, like, very minor compared to...
Yeah, but the thing is, I guess what I'm saying is the rest of it impacts how she views Robert, or like completely shifts my view of Cersei's view of Robert. Because before it was just like her husband, who she didn't like, who she was married to just so she could be queen and keep those relations, and he was abusive, and like, yeah. And like she like wanted to be queen and like blah blah blah, and like she wanted to be with Jaime. Or so I thought. Like, but then, like, now it's just like, oh, he was
Turns
also the
out
guy
Jaime's just the consolation prize.
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, turns out that Robert, on top of being all of those previously listed things, is also the guy who killed the guy that she'd been dreaming about for years. So it, like... Yeah. Like, it kind of colors that view, too, and, like...
Yeah, I mean, it is a very different take to the take we're introduced to in Game of Thrones, like the first book, is because, like, I think this is when Ned confronts her about all her things, and he's like, why, or how long, or whatever, and she's like, I tried to love Robert, but then on our wedding night, he called out Lyanna's name. Do you remember that part? And that changed everything. So I guess it was just more of a thing than, like, the thing that changed everything, you know?
Right. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, because at that point we could be like, oh yeah, that would suck. Like, we kind of sympathize with her.
But I guess in this case it's also, like, the whole thing of if... Oh,
and also Rhaegar
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Robert. I was going to say, if he... Because she literally says later in the chapter, like, if he'd just fallen for me... because the announcement had been made, and he'd fallen for me, then the Lyanna shit never would have happened. So it's like, even So she doesn't get Rhaegar, but she gets this prince guy who's killed her prince guy. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll be with Robert, like, whatever. I still get to be queen. At least that part's still true. And then he calls out the name of the woman for whom she didn't get Rhaegar.
Well,
like, you know?
Not for whom, because Elia and
No, but he
Rhaegar
loved
were married.
her, right? Which caused all the problems. So she, in a way, was, like, one of the seeds that, like, caused all these problems.
Yeah, okay, but we're going into but if this, but if that, because, like, if Rhaegar hadn't gone after Lyanna or whatever.
No, but I'm saying from Cersei's perspective. I wouldn't say that, but that's what she thinks of it. Like, she literally is like she has that moment of, like, if he had just fallen for me, then Lyanna wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
So then, drawing from that, I'm assuming she's thinking,
well, it's like if it were me instead of Elia, not me instead of Lyanna. Like, the Lyanna would have... it doesn't matter. We're thinking... Can we please move on?
Okay.
Basically...
No, we just one more thing. Like, yeah, like, she's like, if I had married him instead of Elia, but also, then the Lyanna shit happened, you know, which caused the
it's
rebellion and
all of it.
It's all of it is mixed up, and all these families are cray. Like, what the heck? Yeah.
So she comes back from these musings and is like, oh, whatever. What do I care that some old guy married a young woman? Like, whatever. Yeah. And, you know, what's his name? Qyburn is just like, okay, I don't know.
Thought you'd care.
I thought, yeah. And then he has another thing. This is about a puppet show that's being put on in the city that basically depicts, like, the puppet lions growing greedy and
wait, sorry. The thing about the Arianne stuff. So I guess, like, Doran dealt with that stuff, but, like, did he just not let it get out?
I mean, they haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that would have been a big plot point if there had been any news. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I guess I'm just wondering, like, what's the conclusion? I was hoping to get some news, you know? Like, so I guess, like, some of those people, they tried to deal with it swiftly. Like, get that girl married, get that guy, like the Daemon Sand guy, I guess that was separate. But get him out of the way, because he's imprisoned. Mm-hmm. Get the Santagar girl who was with Arianne out of the way, get her married. So I guess he's just trying to deal with it quietly, like he's not going to report anything, maybe?
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Or maybe he's trying to figure out his announcement before he makes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Continue.
All right, so play about greedy lions devouring noble stags and then eventually being devoured by a dragon. Ooh. Kind of prophetic, if you ask me, but
yeah.
But
it's
basically,
what we've been predicting since, like, book 1.
Yeah,
like.
It's mostly fine except for the part that the lions get devoured by the dragons, so that's treason. So she's like, okay, anybody who goes to attend it, tell me if there's anybody of note, and I will take half their wealth, and then all the puppeteers, they can hang or be executed. But Qyburn is like, but can I have one of the women? And she's like, why do you want the women? I just gave you Sanel, which, newsflash to us.
Yeah. That's why she, at the beginning of the chapter, was like, oh, I have a new girly.
Yes. So she had, because remember Merryweather kind of was like, Sanel's a snitch, you know?
Yeah. So
she literally just took Sanel to Qyburn, and all we hear is that she has been exhausted. Yeah. What is the wording he uses? Yeah, the girl is quite exhausted. What?
Bro,
I don't want to know. But also, what?
Yeah, I can't believe she's literally just like, yeah, do your experimentation. And, like, she's disgusted by it too, but she's just like, sure, I don't care as long as you serve
have
me.
2 more. What?
Yeah, but it's almost like, because the thing is, if she was doing this in, like, a very super villain way, like, where, like, she wasn't really like, you know how sometimes supervillains, like, they make them not very human, just so you can, like, easily hate them? But, like, in this case, it's like, she literally acknowledges, like, oh yeah, I hated being there, like, she was screaming, like, it was a terrible environment, like, she fully understands
Well, it doesn't say she was screaming. The cells were
that
bitter
foul
cold,
thing was
even...
screaming.
Yeah. What foul thing?
Oh, I just assumed it was the Snell girly.
I don't think she would say that foul thing. I think she's like setting the environment for when she takes Sinel in. So there is a previously existing foul thing that is screaming.
Bro. Is it the fucking head?
The head? What
or the
head?
Fucking, or no. What was it? Like, oh no, we gave Gregor's head, but we kept his body.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what happened to the body, but the head was definitely sent to Dorne. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, and then my prediction was, well, he has the body and he's using it because that dude is gigantic. Like, yeah. Okay,
so the foul thing is what?
Like Gregor's body?
Okay. Screaming without a head? Okay.
Bro, I don't know, because who else do we... Like, we don't...
I mean, I'm not even, like, questioning you. I'm just more creeped out, is what I am.
Yeah, like, we just don't know who else or what else he has there. Like, that's screaming, you know?
Yeah. So, creepy shit. That's the end of the conversation with Qyburn. Her just saying, you can have 2 of the women, just get me the names of the attendees and whatever. And he's like, okay. So then she's taking a bath, and Jaime and Tommen come through.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because Tommen requires a word. The king requires a word.
Oh my god. And
she's like, what is it now? And just like the way she talks to him, the kid like gets scared and like shrinks back.
Bro.
And Jaime has to be like, well, he wants to joust tomorrow. And she's like, there will be no jousting. And he's like, I want to do it. I'm the king. And just like all the things. And she's like, well, you will do it once there's a master at arms. And he's like, well, I don't want a master at arms. I want Loras. And she's like, well, Loras has other better things to do. Ask Jaime. And Jaime's like, yeah, like patrolling the walls, which is apparently a thing she's been getting him to do. Just or maybe we knew that.
Yeah.
But basically wasting his time. Yeah. And she thinks to herself, like, maybe she's like, well, he's not that good. Like, Kettle Black,
is much
better than him. And Jaime is like, not the one I know. And she thinks to herself, maybe I should get Loras to purposely lose to Osmond, which I'm like, Loras would literally never do that. He would rather die than do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she's like, just like, oh, I'm sending for a Dornishman because like making a very generalized statement, Dornish are the finest jousters. It's just like, yeah. So Tommen's like, no, I want Sir Loras. Jaime's just laughing. And then she threatens to whip Pate once more. You don't command me. I'm your mother. And he's like, but I'm king. And Marjorie says that everyone has to do what the king says.
Damn.
And I want to joust on the morrow, and Sir Loras can teach me how. And I want a kitten, and I don't want to eat beets. I love him. Oh, he's so adorable.
Oh my god, bro. Jaime was still laughing. The queen ignored him. Bro, in an alternate universe, they would be such a cute little family. Like Cersei, Jaime, and Tommen, like, you know, but in like a toxic way, but in like a cute way. Like Cersei would just get mad, Jaime would just be like laughing, and Tommen would be like just acting like a little kid, you know?
Yeah, and they would not be all doubly related. So yeah, so after this, she like kind of softens up and is like, okay, you're king, but you're a little boy and you will learn to joust just later, and you'll also rule, but later. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to be Loras. He's got things to do. And this is when Jaime's like, yeah, like riding around the city walls, for instance. And then Tommen's like, can I have a kitten? And then she's like, maybe, as long as I don't hear this nonsense about jousting. Can you promise me? And he like says yes, and she tells him to run along. And as before he leaves, he says, when I'm king in my own right, I'm going to outlaw beats. Dwight Schrute would have a heart attack. Or mount a rebellion. One of those. So...
And then Jaime's like, Your Grace, I was wondering, are you drunk or merely stupid?
Yeah. And then she's like, guard your tongue, or what? You'll send me to inspect the city walls again?
Please. He's like, by the way, for what it's worth, the bloody walls are fine. You just gotta, like, replace the hinge on this one. And you're good. Like...
And you forget, our friends of Highgarden are inside the walls.
Mm-hmm. Real.
Yeah, and then she thinks back to, like, the golden coin found in the jailer's toilet, like, all of that.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, this is the first time I heard about this new Master of Arms, but you're not going to find anyone better than Loras Tyrell. And she's like, I can't have a gay person near my son. Ew. Go die, Cersei. And obviously, now she turns to insulting Jaime, like, you were better than him when you fought. But then Prince Arthur Dayne was better, and Prince Rhaegar was even better, and blah, blah, blah. Like, she goes into this whole thing.
Yeah.
And...
and she's
tired
like,
of Jaime balking. No one ever balked at her Lord Father. When Tywin Lannister spoke, men obeyed. When Cersei spoke, they felt free to counsel her, to contradict her, even refuse her. And it's all because I am a woman. I agree that plays a big part, but I gotta say, Cersei, it's not all of it.
Yeah. Feel free to contradict, refuse, counsel. Like, bro, Tywin still had people doing some of those things. Like, the right people
and it's
still
their
do
job
those
to
things.
counsel you.
Exactly. Like,
and they end up having to contradict you because so much of
what
your
you're
shit
saying
is just
wrong. Yeah, like, come on. Like, like sure.
I don't disagree that the misogyny is like a factor here, but it's just
like, so much of that applies for so many people. But for the people who are directly counseling you, like, sure, for like the Bravosi guy who came, or like the people that you're meeting with, like, sure, all of those things like play a big factor. But for the people who like you're choosing to like put as your counsel, you can't just not listen to them and always assume that it's just because you're a woman. Like, sometimes your ideas are wrong too, Cersei.
Yeah. I think it's just she wants to blame everything on misogyny, whereas there's like some blame, quite a lot, to be laid on her as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So
she has this
she's thinking about like, I gotta get rid of Jaime soon. He's becoming more of a hindrance than a help. Like, he's literally the only person left in the city who's kind of still on her side.
Exactly. Like, come on.
Yeah, okay. How do you think she will get rid of him? And if so, how?
I don't think so. Like,
okay.
I feel like the most would just be like, go on this mission. Like, I don't think she's gonna like kill him or like something, you know?
Right. So what kind of mission?
I don't know, like, maybe it would be like, you're head of the Kingsguard, go find me a master at arms, like, go escort the Dornish guy here, like, something, like, stuff like that. Like, maybe just wasting more of his time so he's not in the way.
Right. Okay, so she tells him to leave. He leaves. Then it's time for dinner. And
he calls her a beautiful golden fool. And she's like, damn, ouch. Is this all we're gonna get for the epic breakup?
Oh. So it's she's getting dressed for supper, but a bunch of her gowns have mysteriously shrunk.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
She could have just gained weight.
I think so too.
Okay, like I feel like this is just the narcissism coming in. Like,
oh yeah, all these servants shrunk my gowns, and she was gonna whip them, but Meriwether was like, "Be nice." So she's instead gonna take it out of their pay, her gowns, which cost probably like millions compared to their meager salaries.
Yeah, like this is just like,
yeah,
this is the kind of stuff where it's just like, you're just like stupid, Cersei. Like there's only a limit. Like I know we've talked about like, okay, she's not very well trained, like her dad didn't really focus on like honing her talents and all of that, but I feel like Cersei, just the way she's written, just goes so far beyond that. Like she's not even a character that I can point to and be like, see, if we just helped her out in childhood, she would have been cool.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's just so much going on there that like I'm like, bro, like just the narcissism goes too far that I wonder
like
if
nothing can be her fault.
Yeah, like,
or not that like gaining weight is a fault, but like just like get new dresses made. You're rich and you're not spending your money on the interest payments. So
and especially like, yeah, literally. And like, yeah, come on. Like you have the Lannister stuff too.
So
like,
why do you think she's gaining weight or has gained weight?
I mean, she's drinking excessively, which is all it does is cause weight gain, like, you know?
Yeah.
Not all it does, but like a big thing it does. And like she's stressed out, she's grieving, like like a big theme recently has also been like her getting older and like how that affects like her experience with things, but like she refuses to acknowledge that like getting older, and like he also uses like Marjorie to show that too, to like kind of contrast that. So like, you know, it's just like she's getting older, her body's changing, and she's drinking excessively and grieving, but not really grieving. Like, you know?
Want to hear a theory?
Is she pregnant?
Well, that's a theory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the theory.
But like, whomst? Like one of the
Jamie, like they did have sex like recently.
Ish.
Like there was a time. Well, was it the time that he assaulted her, or
it might have? That's the most recent I remember them actually doing.
But that was like Joffrey's thing. Okay, I don't personally subscribe to this theory. I should like clarify that, because I do think it's literally just the drinking and like her getting older and all of those, like your body changes, you know, all those things.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to point out that some people do theorize that she might be pregnant.
Damn.
Yeah.
She gonna drink some
milk of the moon tea.
Yeah. Moon tea. Yeah.
Okay, so but to
Bro,
do that, she would have to acknowledge that she's pregnant, you know?
Okay,
and she'd be like, no.
Yeah, literally. What's that thing of like, Kate, you know the moon door? And then like moon tea? Why is moon all about death in this book? Is there a reason?
Well,
or, like,
the
in
moon
these books?
door is because the sigil of the Errands is like a falcon and a moon.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure something.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Like, they've got the moon imagery in there.
Okay,
so
I was like, is this a
Door.
theme? Like, is this something I should pay attention to? Okay, cool.
I think it's just a coincidence. Like, I think, why is it called moon tea? I think moon tea because like they measure their like months by like cycles of the moon. So like it had been this many moons. So moon tea is like period tea or something.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know. And okay, so
yeah, like I can't.
Come on.
on.
So she gets dressed, whatever. Then she's like, "Oh, it's too bad I'm not supping with Lady Meriwether, who has apparently just like super become her favorite." Which way to go, Meriwether, honestly.
Yeah. Wow. Way to watch out. Remember when she was like, "Oh, I'm being cautious." It's like, no, you're not.
Cersei had not had a friend she so enjoyed since Melara Heatherspoon. and Melara had turned out to be a greedy little schemer with ideas above her station. I should not think ill of her. She's dead and drowned, and she taught me never to trust anyone but Jaime.
And now you...
Yeah.
Bro, yeah, this chapter really highlights, like, just her inability to think. Like, she's like, okay, I shouldn't trust anyone but Jaime. That's what she taught me. Valuable lesson. I shouldn't speak ill of her. And what am I doing right now? Not trusting Jaime. And wow, Melara, I hate her because she had ideas above her station. But you know who I love? Merryweather, who totally doesn't have ideas above her station. Like, come on, Cersei.
Sense. Cersei. Wall. Oh, see, like, this is why her chapters are my favorite, because nothing makes any sense. So you're just like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so she gets to dinner, and it's the Stokeworths, Fayleys, and her husband, I don't know, whatever, Sir Ballman, sure. And so apparently their mom took a fall off a horse and her hip's broken, and Cersei's like, I hope she recovers, but really she's like, she gonna die. And they're talking about Tanda and, oh no, that is Tanda, sorry. They're talking about Lawless and her son, now named Tyrion, and how they didn't want that to happen, but it was Bronn who did it, basically.
Yeah.
And just... they're complaining about their journey, and they're like, the ward at Rosby denied us hospitality, which I'm like, you can do that? Like,
yeah.
To me, that just sounds like a declaration of war, almost, like, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, if somebody, like, especially a lord or a lady comes, like, knocking on your door, can you just say, not feeling it today? Like...
yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was like, sorry, we don't have enough room right now. Come back later.
Yeah, like, what does Giles think of this? And then they're also like,
know.
he's gonna take over Giles's thing when Giles dies, even though we are the rightful heir. So maybe that's why the ward didn't let them in. So actually, I'm on his side.
Please.
And then they also encountered the sparrows on the road, and like, this is becoming like an increasingly prominent thing in the book. Like, there's all these sparrows in the city, there's more coming in, and they've like got all these like they call them filthy unkempt creatures with leather shields and axes, like, just like a lot going on, you know? And Cersei's like, yeah, they call them sparrows, and they are a plague upon our land. And our new High Septon will have to deal with them once he's crowned. And remember, the last one died. We heard about that last chapter. And a new one hasn't been chosen. There was a guy called Septon Olador that was on the verge of being chosen until he was found in a brothel by the sparrows, who dragged him out naked into the street.
Damn.
I mean, I'm not with the whole chastity thing, but if you're like literally running to be the king of chastity, like, can you, like, you know, skip out on the brothel for a few days, you know? Like, just delay it.
Literally. Oh my god.
But maybe he didn't want to get like Cersei through all his like lack of sex.
Stop. He knew.
But yeah, like, it anyway, so that's a thing happened, but there's other people.
Yeah, there's a Lucian guy, but he's a couple votes short, so.
And they're like, may the crone guide the deliberations with her golden lamp of wisdom, which is like so like, it is
piously pious.
Oh, it's not piously pious, it's like incredibly hilariously pious. Like, it's pious to such a degree that it is now a joke. And obviously that is George's intention, but it's just like so much.
Yeah.
So then they're like, okay, But, oh yeah, this is when they talk about the naming of Tyrion, and she's like, you know what, maybe this guy will redeem all the Tyrions. Like,
I'm dead.
And it, like, then she turns this into being like, oh my god, all those Tyrion supporters are coming after me. I live in fear.
Dude.
And this Braun guy was such a what is the word? Staunch? What's the word?
Staunch supporter.
Staunch is a word?
Staunch is a word, but I don't know if it's that word. Hold up. Staunch supporter. Yeah, staunch supporter.
Okay, thank you.
Loyal and committed in attitude. Staunch supporter.
Yeah.
It just sounds wrong.
But he was like a supporter of Tyrion, so he is obviously up to no good. And I heard he's gathering sellswords, and they're like, yeah, he is. And also there's like, you know, just all this, it's bad, and he could be harboring Tyrion. And they're like, I think we would have noticed Tyrion, like, on our lands. But she's like, you never know. My brother was, like, born for stealth or something. Like,
oh my God.
Doesn't she say that?
I think so, yeah.
And
he was made for skulking.
Skulking, that's the word.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, she's like, it would be so nice if you could get rid of Braun for me. And the guy's like, get rid, you mean like kill? And she's like, no, I want his toenail broken. Like, yeah, doy.
She's like, you're my dear friends.
Yeah, I shall never forget this. A Lannister always pays his debts.
LOL. I love, there was a point where she's like, oh yeah, and you know true knighthood. What was that tourney where you fought so brilliantly, sir? And I'm like, bro, you could just say that to any man who, like, fights and be like, and then he'll be like, oh yeah, you must have seen me in that one. Like, yeah. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So funny.
So, yeah, she's like, and we'll get Lawless a new husband when it's all done. And she thinks to herself, perhaps a kettle black, which...
My God. Sure, do your thing. No, but she's like, when she says the thing of, no, I want you to break his toe, like that one, she's like, in her head, she's thinking, my enemies are everywhere and my friends are fools. Yeah. Which is kind of a funny line.
And then, like, they sit around drinking all night, and finally they leave, but she's like, I could have hired a faceless man to kill Braun for half of what I spent on hypocrites tonight.
Please.
Yeah, so it's like...
And she's like, Sir Balman proved a great one for suggesting yet another flagon. Like, for wine, and I'm like, that's so funny.
So it's the end of the night, so she's like, okay, I'm gonna turn in, but then before she does, she looks in on Tommen, who is cuddled up with 3 little black kittens.
King.
Oh, which Marjorie was gonna give him one, but he couldn't decide which one he liked best, so he got all 3. Oh, which is the best way to do it, honestly. I love him.
Adorable.
Yeah, and she's like, I guess that's better than cutting them out of their mother with a dagger, which, if you remember, is what Joffrey decided to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, I guess this is like Marjorie's way to like chum up to him, but also I wish they weren't black, because black cats bring ill luck. Because Rhaegar's daughter had a black cat, and remember we had that, this is the same black cat that Arya chases, and we had that theory that Rhaegar actually like warged into this black cat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that from way back when?
Vaguely.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the gist of the theory.
Cute. Adorbs.
Like, this cat has just like outlived all cats, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, and she's thinking like, oh yeah, Rhaegar's little girl discovered that black cats are very unlucky, and she's like, she would have been my daughter if the Mad King had not played his cruel jape on father.
Yeah, and this thing sends her down memory lane of rejection. So, This was when she was, how old does she say? Like, I was this many years old?
6 or 7. When her dad promised.
Yeah, when she was 6 or 7, her dad was like, you're gonna marry Rhaegar and be the queen.
Mm-hmm.
But she was never supposed to talk about it with anyone because it wasn't like official.
Mm-hmm.
Not until his grace agrees to the betrothal. So Tywin's promising her this even before Aerys has been like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. This also reminds me of, you remember when, like, Sansa was promised Joffrey's betrothal, and like Catelyn, like, told her, and she was like, yay, oh my god. And then, like, when she finally met Cersei on their journey back towards, like, King's Landing, and then Cersei was kind of giving, like, as the chapters went on, like, first she was like, oh yeah, wow, you'll make a fine princess, like, whatever. But then, like, as the chapters went on and we got to see, like, her true side, she was kind of like, oh yeah, you were promised, but, like, that's just not how things go. Like when Sansa kind of was, like, really dreamy-eyed, like, Cersei just kind of kept shitting on it, which this kind of adds more to it, where it's like, that's probably how Cersei felt she was.
I don't remember if she ever was like, yeah, I was promised, but it's not gonna happen. Like, not until, like, until even after Robert died, they were still betrothed.
No, like, but I, like, not that she was like, oh, Sansa, don't get your hopes up, it's not gonna happen, but, like, kind of, like, more of,
just,
like,
life can be shitty sometimes.
Yeah. And like she kind of was like, you're basically, like, I don't know if she said this, but, like, her attitude towards Sansa was just like, you're pretty, but, like, you're like basically a dumber version of me. And it's like they kind of have that, like, mirroring experience of, like, I'm gonna marry this person, sure. And then it doesn't really happen for different reasons, but
yeah. So she wasn't supposed to tell anyone about this, like, plan of Tywin's, but one time she drew herself flying behind Rhaegar on a dragon. Aww. And when Jaime found it, she was like, oh no, it's Queen Alysanne and King Jaehaerys. And then when she was 10, there was a tourney at Lannisport, yeah. And that's when she saw Rhaegar for the first time.
Dude.
And it was like to welcome the king to the west and whatever, right? And when he came through, the people cheered for him, but people cheered twice as loudly for Tywin, which I feel like kind of might have played a part in Aerys being like, no, I don't want you to marry into my family anymore because you're getting too
powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gotta show you your place.
Yeah, Aerys was, like, super proudful and all that. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we even heard, like, it was in this book, I forget who said it, but, like Tywin, like, all the Tywin stuff led Aerys, like, further down the path of, like, going mad or whatever.
Yeah, like, people respected Tywin too much.
Yeah. And then he was like, ugh, you defy me.
Exactly. I don't want you as hand anymore, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So, she was 10, Rhaegar was 17, okay. And their, like, engagement was going to be announced at some point, like, at the end of that tourney. Mm-hmm. But she still had to keep it to herself. Yeah. And she had been, okay, so I'm just basically going to read this whole thing.
Yeah.
She had been so happy that day. Elsewise, she would never have dared visit the tent of Maggie the Frog. She had only done it to show Jane and Melara that the lioness fears nothing. I was going to be queen. Why should a queen be afraid of some hideous old woman? The memory of that foretelling still made her fresh recall a lifetime later. Mm-hmm. Jane ran shrieking from the tent in fear, the queen remembered, but Melara stayed, and so did I. We let her taste our blood and laughed at her stupid prophecies. None of them made the least bit of sense. She was going to be Prince Rhaegar's wife, no matter what the woman said. Her father had promised it, and Tywin Lannister's word was gold.
Dude. Okay, but also, like, you know what I was thinking? Cersei's Robert. Sorry. Okay. Wait. Nope, I said that wrong. ignore all that. Cersei's Rhaegar is Robert's Lyanna, but then they ended up together in, like, contempt, and then the other two liked each other and actually possibly had Jon together.
Possibly liked you. It's all conjecture. We don't know any of this.
Shush. Okay, shush. But it's like, it's almost, it's like sad and beautiful, because it's like, she wanted him, but he wanted her, and she wanted him, but then he wanted her. But then they ended up together, and they ended up together dead. Like, you know? And it's
the only one that survives is Cersei.
Yeah, and it's like it's a little sad. It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. What I want to talk about is this prophecy.
You didn't react to my thought as well. I thought
I said it's fine. I said, I'm just not that interested in that part of things. I'm just like, whatever.
It's so, like, bro, that's, like, heart-wrenching.
Somebody else give those thoughts to Harmouth in the Discord. Meanwhile, I want to talk about Maggie the Frog. So, apparently, this friend Melara, who died, like, right? Same friend that went with her to Maggie the Frog. And apparently what she predicted was that Cersei's not going to marry Rhaegar. Like, we don't get the exact, like, words or whatever, but that's what it is implied here. But it did end up becoming true. She did not marry Rhaegar. So, legit prophecy, question mark?
I think so.
Yeah. And, yeah. So, it didn't come true because at the end of the tourney, there was no final feast, no toast to celebrate their betrothal. Only cold silences and chilly looks between the king and her father. Apparently, when Tywin proposed the match, the king refused to hear of it. He said, "You are my most noble, most able servant, Tywin, but a man does not marry his heir to his servant's daughter," which I can't imagine Tywin took that well. But that was when she was 10, and it was, like, years later that the rebellion and stuff happened. And, like, it wasn't until years later that Tywin quit being hand. So I guess he just held on to this and was like, eventually when the rebellion opportunity and usurp, all that came up, he was like, this is my chance.
Yeah. I guess because he didn't want to let go of the hand post.
Yeah.
Right?
Guess,
like, just because, like if the king spites you, like, you can't be like, I'll show him and quit. I guess you just
start being more schemy at that time.
Yeah, I guess, point. Yeah.
Yeah, so her aunt was like, your father will find another better man for you. And she's like, no, he didn't. He found Robert, and Robert sucked.
Aww.
And yeah, if only she had married Rhaegar, everything would have turned out right. And she had never forgiven Robert for killing him, and the lions are not good at forgiving, and Sir Bronn of the Blackwater would shortly learn.
Bro, no wonder she hated Robert so much. And that's why every time she thinks about Rhaegar, she's always like...
Hateful or, like...
Hateable?
Sure.
Yeah, but, like, on top of that, this whole layer of, like... And also, like, it's so funny, though, because also why, going back to my earlier thought, why Cersei's Rhaegar is Robert's Lyanna, because they both, like, dream of being with that person, but would be so incompatible, and it, like, would not work out. Because can you imagine, like, Harp playing, like, Rhaegar, who was like, we're gonna get rid of Aerys, we're gonna overthrow him, we're gonna make things better with Cersei? And Robert?
Why not?
And don't tell me they're compatible. And then Robert with freaking girl boss Lyanna? Come on. Like, no way.
Robert and Lyanna, I agree, it won't make a good match. Cersei and Rhaegar, I don't know.
Really?
Because she wouldn't then have this messed up thing with Jaime and, like, wouldn't despise her kids and just, you know? I mean, she loves her kids, obviously.
Yeah, but I just think, like, I don't know. Like,
well, I don't know.
The Cersei stuff...
Because the
I
Cersei
guess
that's Cersei today is because of all the things that have happened in her life.
And I get that, but I also just think that, like, there's also nature to consider. Like,
sure.
it's
you
not,
know
like,
my things.
yeah.
I'm like more nurture than nature. Like 40 nature, 60 nurture.
Yeah, but I feel like you're ignoring the 40 nature, because I think I agree with you. Like, I don't think it's just nature at all, but it's like the whole, you know, the whole thing they would always say of, like, with every passing year, her pride grows. Like, obviously that's, like, nurture, right? But the pride was there. Like, a different person in Cersei's shoes with all of these things, basically Cersei's whole lived experience, it would still be, like, a different person, you know? And I just feel like who Cersei, like, this narcissist that she's become with...
Sure.
Rhaegar, I don't see it.
Sure, they won't be compatible. Okay, all right.
I don't see it.
So, predictions. There's so much to predict.
Okay, wait, I just had a question. So that was Attorney, and, like, she was 10, and then years later was the rebellion, which was after the tourney at Harrenhal,
the rebellion
where
was
all the
when
shit
she
went
was
down.
like 15 or 16.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So, new Master at Arms, question mark?
Some Dornish guy?
Okay. How is she gonna get rid of Jaime, question mark?
Just send him off to do stuff.
What's Tommen gonna name his kittens?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe like... Oh, what if he named one of them Marjorie because he missed her?
Oh, wait, Marjorie? Or Marcella,
nope,
you
Marcella.
mean?
I was trying to say Marcella.
Okay. Will he outlaw beats?
Will he outlaw beats? I don't think he will.
Okay, what else happened? Will Osney Kettleblack succeed at seducing Marjorie and all of Cersei's scheme there? I don't
think so. I think Cersei will get caught, Osney will get caught.
Damn.
Marjorie will pull strings, Littlefinger will pull strings.
Okay. And Bronn, the scheme to kill him off?
I think he'll die.
Bronn will die.
Yeah, or he'll escape and then eventually find Tyrion and they'll be besties again and it'll be really cute.
Okay. All right. I think that's everything, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Next chapters. Give me your hopes and predictions.
I would like to see Sam and Davos.
Okay. Well, we're reading chapters 25 and 26 next time. Mm-hmm. Chapter 25 is Brienne.
Ooh. Okay. Oh, we just caught up with my favorite guy, Sir Hyle.
Oh, great.
And oh yeah, they're trying to get, oh yeah, they just found out who, like, the people were. So now that part of the mission is gone. And then she found out.
She heard about Arya being with the Hound.
Yeah, so I think now she's going to be on that trail, going back towards the Trident, all that fun stuff.
Cool. Chapter 26 is Samwell.
Ooh, okay.
So you actually got one.
Yay. Oh my god, I haven't gotten one in a while. Oh my god, well, I guess we'll find out what's going on with Maester. And then...
Aemon.
Yes. Throwing it back to the Sir days. Yeah, and maybe we'll finally get to the journey. Oh yeah, he might write a strongly worded letter to Jon about the stuff he just found out.
Right.
Maybe we'll get to, like, because we're crossing through Bravos to get to Old Town.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see Arya.
Yeah. Cat, you mean?
Oh, yes, we'll see Cat. I was like, what are you talking about?
What if Tommen names his cat's cat?
That would be so cute. Aww.
Okay. So those are the chapters. So officially, at the end of the chapters we read today, we're more than halfway through this book. What do you think of this book so far?
Wait, what? Oh my god, we are!
Yeah.
Yo. That's wild. I mean, it's a good book, man. I really like it.
Yay!
It's good. Like, it's so fun. I love, like, I don't particularly understand why this book is underrated. Like, you know what I mean? I still don't understand why people don't like it. Like, I'm so lost.
What do you think people might want to improve about the book from what you've read so far?
I don't know.
What were they missing in this that they got in Swords, like Storm of Swords?
I think the only thing is, I think this book compared to the other books has a lot more things going on in terms of like who we see. Like, we see people less, like, you know, the first book, it was like, Catelyn, Ned, someone else. Catelyn, Ned, someone else. Like,
right.
It kind of had that structure, and then I feel like the other books kind of had, like, a central, like, plot line that was going on that we kind of focused on. This one, if I had to say one, it would probably be Cersei's stuff. Like,
yeah, I mean, hers are, I think, are the most chapters we've had so far.
Yeah.
But Brienne has also had a few.
Yeah. So I think maybe, I mean, I can understand why Cersei's a little bit, like, polarizing. That's the word. I was like, what's the thing when you do this? I was gesturing. Yeah, like, I can understand why a lot of people could possibly read Cersei's chapter and then get really, like, especially because for me, it's like, I get to read a Cersei chapter, like, once a month or something, you know, with how often they come up. But I can understand if you're binging this book and you just hear Cersei's nonsense back to back to back, why you might get a little bit annoyed. Right. Or I also think, like, this book, like I said, it's just, like, less focused. And I like that. Like, it's cool to go from, like, Braavos to King's Landing to The Wall and, like, Old Town. Like, I think maybe people just don't like it because it's kind of branching out a bit. And, like, there's a lot more going on, so you kind of hear from people less.
Yeah.
But I also feel like other people probably like it because it's cool. You're expanding and going to different places. I don't know. Maybe people are just missing, like, the heavy action from book 3.
Right.
There hasn't really been
literally was jam-packed. Yeah, we ended with, like, red wedding, purple wedding.
Yeah.
Battle at the Wall.
Yeah.
Tywin dies. Like, Tyrion's trial. Like, the Viper and the Mountain. Like, so much.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this book has literally just had the stuff in Dorne.
As action, you mean?
Yeah. And then, like,
yeah,
because the Wall stuff was resolved in the last book. Not resolved, but, like, the main Wall stuff happened at the end of the last book. We haven't heard from any of the people in the North. We haven't heard from Riverrun. Like, none of the action stuff has been happening this book. This book has just been, like, plots, characters, not plots, but, like, plot, like, resolution, and then, like, characters just, like, figuring out their stuff, you know? Yeah, like, this, literally, to quote the title, it's just been, like, people feasting on their remains, so it's, like, there's not much to, like, go on, because we're still dealing with the aftermaths.
Yes. The reason that I made such a big deal out of, like, not telling you the book titles is because of this book's title specifically, because it it says so much, you know?
Right.
Like, it's like the aftermath of A Storm of Swords, like, all of that. So, yeah. Anyway.
Damn.
But you're satisfied. You don't want to change things.
I'm good with this book. I'm good. The Red Wedding was traumatizing people. The Purple Wedding was rejuvenating. I will say that. But it's just, I don't, like, I think I'm, like, if book 5 goes back to Red Wedding level action, I think I'm okay with that because we'll have had a break. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like that the books have different vibes because I think that's important in fantasy, because sometimes it can just kind of feel samey. So this is good. I'm cool with this.
Okay. Well, I'm glad. Like I said, this is one of my favorite books. So like,
yeah,
I love it.
What's your least favorite?
I won't say.
Why? Is it the fifth
well,
one?
Because like least favorite doesn't mean bad. It just means out of 5, you gotta pick one that
so
you
which
don't
one
like
is
as
it?
much.
I'll think of it that way.
What? It's the 5th one.
Really?
But here's the thing, though. Some of my favorite things that happen in the 5th book. Like probably a solid 40% of my favorite things happen in book 5.
Wow.
Like out of all 5 books.
Yeah.
40% happen in that. And then like 30 in Storm. And then oh no, no. Okay, all of them are really good. Now I'm like there's like certain things that you'll see when we get to 5 that I don't love as much, but then when you love it so much, you know?
I
that,
see.
Like,
okay.
Like if you have like, 3 don't likes and then like one of the love it's, then it like makes up for all of it.
I see what you're saying.
But also my mind might change. Like maybe I'll come out of book 5 being like, what, I was high or something. Like this is the best thing that's ever happened.
That's true, because this is your reread.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So anyway. Okay.
Nice.
We don't have any emails this week, but that's okay. It's only been a week since we recorded last time. But people do send us emails. We love reading them. And if you leave a review, send us a screenshot so we can read it, because I can't access all the reviews. Okay, you know what? It's fine. Because
yeah,
it's like one of those things that bothers me so much.
Yeah. And
join the Discord to talk about the things we didn't talk about this episode, give Harmeth the discussion and the validation she wants for her. Cersei, Rhaegar, Robert, Lyanna, love quadrangle.
The love square of love quadrangles.
Quality reference.
Thank you.
And follow on Instagram and send emails. I think I said that. But our email is popculturesymposium@gmail.com. I think that's everything. Yeah, I don't think I forgot anything. So, yeah, let's talk. No, that's not what I meant to say. Let's talk on the Discord and other things until next time when we talk here. No, but that doesn't quite do the thing. Why can't I do my transition today? Basically, I have to learn English until next time. Oh, I do something else after that. I have forgotten everything. What's my name, Harmeth? What's your name, Harmeth? It's on the screen, but I don't know it.
Oh my god.
Until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.